Oy vey.
That's okay. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back. It's time for more Trekyards because you guys like that or something.
Yeah, I hear it's a good show. I hear people watch it, and that's all we need, you know.
Yep. Well, today we're going to be doing some fun stuff. We're going to be looking at all of the Trek films, all
Ooh.
13 of them. 13 of them ranked.
14?
Which I think I'm gonna piss some people off and maybe
Oh, 13.
and maybe surprise a few people with my rankings.
This may be the day we lose half our audience, or more, or less. Don't know.
Very well could be. Who knows? But anyway, yes, this was not easy.
No, actually.
And I don't know. I'm going to stick by my decisions. Could just be my mood. Could just be day. I don't know. But yeah, they're in order, so that's good. At least you were saying earlier it was hard for you to do it. So
yeah,
we don't know each other at this point. So
yeah, my quote to you was, "It felt like picking between your children." You know, they're like yeah. There is stuff at all of them you like, but. And again, the top 6 probably going to be roughly the same, but there's a lot more than 6 now. That's the that's the challenge. Everything else, and also I didn't want it to be the same list as Stuart. I'm also not altering my list, but I'm hoping it's a variety. And I also want to make it very clear that, and I hope you will, to explain why. You know.
Yes.
Well, I'll
try.
Hopefully, though, this isn't a list of the highest quality. This is your personal list of favorites, because I think that's a different debate.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Because I was definitely going.
Some are great from a storytelling and movie making standpoint. Other ones are just enjoyment factor again.
Yeah,
big deal. You know?
There's slight alternate observation there, but yeah, it's personal, isn't it? And we did do something. We did do a top 5 in the olden days. I'd be interested to go back to that and see what we said. But like we said, there's way more than 5, so that 5 is only part of the journey.
Yes, so this Jericho sent a PayPal, so I gotta check that. Hold on, I usually just do it on my phone, but since I'm using my phone for this, I gotta go through here and. All right, let's see what we got. We got $4 from Melissa Jericho.
Thank you.
For a suggestion for Monday's Live, you should discuss the character of Captain Kirk to celebrate Shatner's 90th birthday.
Yeah. I like that.
Or top 10 favorite Kirk moments or something.
Something like Kirk themed.
I don't know.
That could be fun. It's true. Yeah. 90. Goodness. Wow. That's a little bit old. And let's be honest.
What happened?
I said 90, pretty old. But let's be honest, he doesn't look 90.
No.
I mean, how many of our grandmas are in their 70s or 80s and they look slightly more frail? So I think he's doing pretty well for 90. I mean, they're obviously more healthy looking 90-year-olds, but yeah, goodness. But 51 viewers. I'm going to hopefully go away, come back, and there'll be 80. That's my hope. So I'll see you in a minute, Stuart. Why share?
Go share, yes. That's a good cue for you guys to get the lecture from me about super chatting and PayPaling. PayPal is a great way to support as well, as you saw from Mr. Jericho. You just send us the PayPal. Just let us know in the chat that you've sent to PayPal. We'll check that and read your comment or question via that as well. Or you can do the super chat thing, which Olivia has done, which I'll read when still sending it back. Good way to get your comment read and noticed. So you can also support us by joining the channel with the little join button down there. That'll be awesome. Or hit the make sure you're subscribed, obviously. or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards if you want to help us on a monthly basis that way as well. There's lots of ways to help us out. Lots of links down in the description below. So 48 likes with 55 people here. I don't know. I forget what he said, what he wanted for likes, but let's go with 60. Let's try to get 12 more likes. If you haven't hit like yet, hit that like button now, and let's get those numbers up because, yeah. You should rank Kirk's female conquests 1 to 10. That might be interesting. That might be for another day, though. Shatner had the ideal physique in TOS, in my honest opinion. Yeah, I would say so too. I had at one point too. In my life, I was, had the good physique for my age, and then, mid-30s happened. But anyway, so yes, today we're ranking the movies, and this should be fun and interesting all at the same time. I think you guys are going to be a little surprised by my list. But let's wait for Sammy to get back, and then we'll talk about it. So if you guys want, you can head on over to Eagle Moss. The link is in the description below. Pick up some cool stuff and use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself some money at checkout. Helps us out, helps you out, and it's just a great thing. So if you can, please consider doing so. What else? Oh, 50 likes now. Awesome. 62 people here, so we should easily be able to hit 60 likes now. So hit that like button. Smash that like button. Gently caress the like button. Poke the like button. Phaser the like button. Disruptor the like button. Photon torpedo attack the like button. Punch the like button. Like button. Light button. Double axe handle to the back the like button because it's Shatner related. There you go. That's a thing. Kirk Fu the crap out of that like button. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the movies, why we picked the order that we did, because it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Like I said, I surprised myself a little bit with the ranking that I gave, and I think you guys are all going to be surprised, and I think Samuel's going to be surprised by my choices in the order they were in, 'cause I was surprised.
It's always good.
Hi.
Surprised
back. Well, we got some super chats. I'm going to read those then. We have 56 likes as well. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Olivia Julius, $2. Ooh. My favorite was Star Pug 2, Wrath of Dot. That's funny. Ooh. I should make that. That'd be good.
Number 1, Stuart. Wrath of Pug. Of all Trek films. You're here first.
Yeah. RJB 1714 puts in $20, so thank you so much.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for the super chat. My first super chat, and it's a doozy, so thank you.
Came in swing.
Here's my list of favorites films from most favorite to least favorite.
Okay.
2, 1, 10, 3, 8, 4, 6, 9, 5, 7, 13, 12, 11.
And that's also his pin code, if anyone wants to know.
Keep up the great work, Trekker. So Wrath of Khan, motion picture.
Nemesis?
What is,
no.
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
No, that's 09.
Yes.
No, because... Yeah.
No, Nemesis is 10.
Yeah.
And then 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah. If anyone can please just put, Nem, ST1... Twok, and thank you. That would be really appreciated. Yes.
Yeah.
But
well,
guys,
today's your turn to go first, by the way.
It is. I actually had that on the. I made note of that. But guys, please do super chat support. Would love to know your thoughts on this as we go. It's longer than 10, so it might be going not necessarily longer, but this will be a good debate. And I'm excited. And as normally, Stuart, I want us to address each one as if the other person, if we happen to match, say it full anyway, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, I need to change for the audience. My least favorite / my 13th favorite, depending how you go, is Star Trek 2009. It's my least favorite Star Trek movie.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll go into why.
Yes, I was going to say, why?
Well, there's not really much in it I enjoy, and so if you look at enjoyment factor of like want to rewatch it, this is more insulting than enjoyable. So I was trying to think, what do I pick from this? How many minutes of good stuff are in these movies? And this one I left thinking, there's so few seconds of good stuff, you know? None of the Kirk stuff makes sense. None of the Spock stuff makes sense. The performances are all great, but they're not given good stuff. CG's great, but you'd expect nothing else from ILM. The characters are just mockeries themselves, really, for the most part. Leonard Nimoy agreed to do it, and disrespected the character to some extent by doing it. By some, some extent, grand scheme. The story's stupid, the beginning's stupid, the end's stupid. It's a pew-pew, and it started the road for everything worse to come. There's just so little to enjoy in this, even as a turn your brain off. But Star Trek movies aren't turn your brain off films. That isn't this list. That's a Star Wars list, fine, sure. Turn your brain off and watch Revenge of the Sith, fine. But Star Trek films aren't that. And so for me, there's just so little to enjoy in a Star Trek movie list. As a movie, it beats out some other ones, because as a movie, it's quite well done. But not as a Star Trek movie. And so it gets the lowest on my list.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want me to talk about about it, or wait till it shows up on my list?
I guess just respond to what I said, and we can kind of bounce back a little bit. So there's obviously more. There's more than 10 now, so they're going to be out of order more probably. So how do you respond to that then?
Well, I'm surprised by that a little bit, because I didn't think that would be your least favorite. But it's interesting. I can see why you're saying that. Everybody does seem like caricatures of themselves. Like I would say that the 2009 Star Trek is more of a parody of Star Trek,
yes,
than Galaxy Quest is.
Absolutely.
Galaxy Quest is a better Star Trek movie. That should have been on this list somewhere. Because this is very, like I've said, Zachary Quinto as Spock is good, but I think he looks kind of funny, kind of has that Funko Pop look. He just seems like a parody version. Even the Enterprise is definitely all proportioned, wonky, and weird. That being said, there's some really great stuff. Like when it first started, well, that's getting into my discussion about it. So,
but that's what I mean. It's you're down to like how many minutes of quality of enjoyment. You're looking at maybe under 10 of like quality stuff in it, and that's not enough for a feature film. I honestly don't remember where my list goes. I remember the top few, but the film, better than this, has more minutes of quality content for me personally to enjoy. So yes, the start's great, but that's what everyone says, the start. But the end is absolute trash, They flew how many warp cores into a black hole that isn't the send them back in time, because it's a different black hole, even though it's not, it's the same black. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so poorly thought out. It's like, how did no one notice this?
Well, yeah.
To get from the millions of budget being thrown at it to the end. It's like, how did no one see any of the problems? Crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stupidity in it for sure. Like, one drop of black matter or red matter can create a wormhole or a black hole that's enough to scoop up a planet, essentially.
Only sometimes.
Probably disappear, but you have to drill down. You can't just do it beside the planet. So the whole vial of red matter would like suck up the galaxy, the solar system. And there's the 15 warp cores and the steam powered.
Yeah, and it's and now Lipo Durian says 09 is the best of the JJ movies in my opinion. From there it goes straight downhill. See, for me, Beyond is the same actors given good stuff, and they shine bright as hell in that compared to this. This is a mockery, like and that shows you it's the actors are great, real strong cast, every single one of them. Yeah. And yet, so for me, it's just there's so little good in this. It would definitely win higher as a film award, but that's then TMP would be right down because of how it's made. You know what I mean? It's like there's different ratios.
That's the difference, and that's the caveat that I'm going to say with a lot of the placement of my JJ films. Yeah, is they're good films. They're just not good Star Trek films. Yeah, they're good adventure. They're summer popcorn movie films for sure.
But so are so many dozens of others. Like Star Trek's what makes Star Trek special.
Exactly. And
I enjoy this one the least of the three. Clearly, I like Into Darkness more, but we'll get into that as well. But yeah, just and like I said, I told you it was hard to pick, and but it's like, what do I rate lower than this? And I was like, none of them. I can't rate any of them lower than this in good conscience, which is weird. But it's like, I can't. It's weird.
Well, $10 from Olivia.
Olivia.
We all remember the heartfelt moment when Precious runs down the engineering to find her favorite squeaky toy had sacrificed itself to save the ship. Soon its soon its death Precious screamed, "Dad!"
And then the dog punches the other dog in the face on a hovering thing. Oh, which film do you mean? Yeah. Yes. So yeah, that's my 13th favourite. I'll say it that way. So Stuart, where are you? Because obviously not 09 then.
It's not. All right. My 13th favorite or last place movie, the one I at least want to watch,
yeah,
is Insurrection. I know you're not going to be happy with, but I really don't care. It's if you line them all up for me, and I did this. I looked at them on my shelf, and I'm like, which one, if I had to watch one, would be the last one? And unfortunately, Insurrection popped up. It's been a little while since I've seen it, so I know there's a lot of good stuff in it. Like
I saw it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
Like the duck blind thing, the cloak suits, that was kind of cool. The whole shuttle sequence, the trying to get data back was awesome. But it's ruined by like so many things. It just feels like a super long, really boring episode. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. Like, why would you hide the hollow ship in the water instead of in orbit? Why would you, why do they have the manual controls column? Just there's a lot of stupidity in it that feels like not only fan film, but bad fan film, and maybe some cheap video game shit going on there. Plus, it's the different effects as well. They went with a different effects company, which they still look pretty good, but it has its moments. It has its little moments that are good, but overall, just as a whole ensemble piece, it's just not good. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for so many reasons. I don't like Who Awful. I don't like the villains, and not like I don't like them. Like they're doing their job well and being a good villain.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. Like they're not acted well. Like I don't think I don't know. Just nothing about it is good to me. The main storyline and plot just seems stupid and convoluted, and I don't know. That's why it's the worst one for me, honestly. And I think a lot of people are going to hate me in the chat for that, but I really don't care. It has its moments, I guess, but unfortunately, it's on the bottom of my list. So
over 09, wow.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's personal enjoyment.
Exactly.
And I'll try not. As you did with me, and I was you did go. I wasn't able to work out where you're going to put 09 based on what you said. So I'm going to try and modulate what I say. It's interesting that it's that low because it does still hearken the true Trek-ness of the universe. It uses the entire crew, it uses the universe, it references Deep Space Nine, it has okay effects, okay fine, but they hold up okay, but they're not bad by any means.
No, they're not.
The prosthetics are good, the locations are good, it's got a good chunk of good film in it, for me anyway, but it's tricky because TMP is far more dull than Insurrection. So as a movie, it's like, well, that's just one long scene almost. I mean, that doesn't really feel like a movie except the beginning and the end. The middle, it's like, well, they're just walking a dog. But yeah, this one certainly could be amped up, and it's not because they had lack of budget. It's something didn't quite click. And I think, and you know me, I think the premise of the Baku is a flawed premise. Of course, you sacrifice 128 people's immortal life to save 150 billion. Of course you do. Sorry. There's no debate there. That's why the Federation Council agreed to it, because it's immoral not to. It's just immoral to do it with the Sona, and that's the problem. But they, but wow, last. And that's the thing though, like enjoyment factor, like 09 might be more fun movie. Well, it's definitely more fun movie, but it's just insulting. Like so many things about it are just there to piss off Trek fans. The brewery is worse than the control stick.
It's for me the action, the cinematography, the summer action blockbuster movie feel. If you can shut your brain off and pretend it's not Star Trek and just watch it for an action movie feel, I'd rather watch it and kind of be like entertained then watch Insurrection and be bored shitless going, that's a good shot of the Enterprise. That's good.
So
that canon reference. That's awesome.
So before we jump into the 12th, you'd rather have a fun not Star Trek than a less fun Star Trek? Because that's what you just said. Which is why Galaxy Quest would certainly be higher on the list, because it's a very, very fun not Star Trek, but it kind of has that vibe.
I think you're oversimplifing.
I am. But that is the essence of what you said. When it comes to these two films, anyway.
I'm talking about enjoyment factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you have to turn your brain off to not see Star Trek, that should. But the quality of everything else outweighs this. As I'm just saying, it's an interesting way of thinking about it.
The other way that I kind of took this, and I don't know if you'd agree with it, but to get my judging.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I was going to show a friend or somebody that doesn't know anything about Star Trek a movie, what would be the last one on the list? And unfortunately, this is the one, because this would tune so many people out just because of the boringness of it. It just feels like a super stretched out episode, and it's not good.
If I was doing that, I would throw out Motion Picture, Star Trek 5, and Generations just completely out the window. You wouldn't show this to any new fans. They're not good as film, like, for a new fan at all. This isn't great, but at least it's sort of standalone. Those are, like, the heavily, like, look, it's these people. But I get what you mean.
I get what you're saying, that, and I don't hate any of the Star Trek films, even the JJ stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
This is just, enjoyment factor.
And that's
least favorite.
And that's why it's interesting. It's an interesting debate. And like as I found, what made my worst one worse is how many minutes of fun I have. And I was thinking, if you don't resonate with the stuff, then 09, like there's way more minutes of fun. I just find more minutes of fun in this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, we got some super chats. So let's see what people are saying.
What do you guys think?
And it's probably worth saying, guys, after he gives his 12, then I give my 12, then you should start super chatting when we're discussing that about what you think about that placement. Maybe that might be a good way to do it, but I'm not going to tell you how to super chat, but that might be good. Broken Speaker puts in $5.
Thank you.
After rewatching them, I feel all of the JJ films stunk. They do not hold up. Wrath of Khan and 6 were the best. TMP holds up well. The rest are decent movies. Well, Broken Speaker, stick around because we'll see what the rest of the list says about that.
We have to talk about all of this list. So I was about to say something. Oh, hold it.
Yeah, it's hard to bite your tongue because you know what's coming up on your list. And Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Insurrection, it's a frakes. Mr. Plinkett, good review.
Yeah, Plinkett is a good one for that, for sure.
Yeah. Olivia Julius, $5. She tasks me around the couch of the living room and through the table of dining room. I will chase her. That's good. Yeah. Good super chat.
Very good.
I watched the Red Letter Media thing on season 1.
Yes.
And you know what I found funny is when Rich is saying to Mike, he's like, I know you don't like the Klingon politics thing. I'm like, oh my God, that's so me. The way that he's anyway, I thought that was amusing. I don't know why I sidelined there, but John Woke, $5. If you take deep breaths and focus on this dandelion, you'll be able to stay in this exact moment of the least liked movie forever. A perfect moment of being bored. That's how the movie feels to me. The whole movie, that scene encapsulates the movie for me. It's like it's so long and drawn out, and you're stuck in it. It's like,
But TMP does it worse. They do it for 45 to 50 minutes. You can't use the boredom card when we're talking about TMP as well. This has a couple of boring moments, but that has a boring 40-ish minutes. So it's not uninteresting, but it is boring.
But you also got to look at it from the point of view, like that was new Star Trek at the time. Like nobody had seen this shit before, so it was like, yeah. So for that, I do enjoy the visuals of the motion picture. Well, we'll get to the motion picture discussion.
Yeah. I'm just saying, boring's a weird card to play when you have TMP in this list. Like that is. Yeah.
I got it. Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, puts in €5. This is a negative super chat penalty for the captain for grading Insurrection lower than the JJ movies. Payment to my PayPal account.
Love it.
Hey, wait till you hear the explanations why. Maybe I knew people would be annoyed by this. I knew you would be, especially because you just watched it. I know you think it's pretty good. So.
Well, no, but honestly, I did this. I think probably same with you. We saw burn through a list in our brain. And I don't remember where I put anything. So I'm like, what did I put next? I don't remember. And I'm quite excited. Like, what was me an hour ago's brain? Where the hell did I put Insurrection? I don't remember this year. But it was a hard list. I fought myself, and I want to see where the hell I put it. I don't remember.
Squadron Course puts in $2. Galaxy Quest is my 4th favorite Trek film. See, we should have put Galaxy Quest in this list. I didn't think of it at the time. No, it would have been funny though.
And I'll and if anyone wants to reward me this bit of truth for the super chat, because it'd be nice to show some support for Galaxy Quest. There is a fan film that I'm working for, not on, but I'm working for, that is going to be doing something Galaxy Questy, and we have been building the Protector, and I am so excited to work on that and get some new Galaxy Quest content out there, because I think we are all so interested in seeing some more Galaxy Quest visuals. You can see the early version of the model was over here. That was kind of the tease at Christmas, but I am so excited. You know, I'm you know, I think you as well, Stuart. Like, to see that thing in motion again has a special place because you don't ever see it. Like, I'm really excited to put that into life.
Eugene, 1,000 rubles. 12. It's 13. Yes, it is 13. Which I was just talking about because we're going to the 12th one.
Stuart was right. I back him up.
Yeah. Well, that's a first. Jesus. Just kidding. Though I would only consider 10, honestly, fairly. Yeah, a lot of people say that 10 Star Trek films, and there are only 10. I disagree.
At least there are 11. Beyond's great.
Well, if you go to 11, you have to count the other ones then. So.
All right, shall I do my next one then? Yes, okay. So my number 12 is Star Trek Generations. Second lowest on my list.
Okay.
Same logic applied. I was thinking, how many minutes of quality content is there? Everything on the B is great, but that's just like another scene from Star Trek 6. The stuff on the Klingon ship is good, but wasted characters, like you said, with the ladies. The lighting, while cinematic, is weird and doesn't feel right. It kind of feels very JJ or very Discovery-esque. It's like it's not how you remember it. They spent how many tens of thousands on a boat scene that they could have put in the rest of the film and given it more budget and more scale. Why? The crash is great, and the Nexus is great, and the ending's pretty good, but there's a lot of the stuff I would, not in the sense skip, but I would lose focus on very quickly, a lot of this film. And considering this is the moment that these two characters meet, what a fucking letdown, you know? Of all the ways, none of us would ever write this. And it's sad because it starts strong and it ends okay, but to have, like, you know, he needs to be either trapped in time or come in on a ship or, you know, be in full uniform like a hero or be on the Enterprise as well. Like, imagine Kirk could have been on the Enterprise D, helping save the day. You know what I mean? There's so many other thousands of ways you could have taken the story that would have been more satisfying in every possible way. And it's just a combination of there's not that many amazing minutes and waste opportunity. And it's just, why was this the story you picked? You know? And Coming for All Good Things, which was phenomenal. This is nowhere near as good as All Good Things. And that would have been a great movie. So it's just, yeah, every other film has more moments of fun for me. More moments that I would want to watch. But I do like the start. But that's the same with the Kelvin films. Like, that shouldn't be enough to win you the thing. So yeah, it just frustrates me to no end this film, and it feels like the big misstep of TNG is this film, because they should have known better. You know, they just did 7 seasons of a TV show and 6 movies of Star Trek. Why is this the film? Especially coming off Star Trek 6 as well. Like, that was really good. Why did they make this one then? You know, it's weird. So there you go.
Interesting.
So your non-spoilery comments.
This one, I'd like the mix of both the TNG and the motion. Like, it's another movie era film for a minute, you know? And that's kind of cool to see. The Enterprise B and, you know.
Beautiful.
There's a lot of good stuff there. You can see Kirk again. I like that. I'm really big fan of Kirk. The way he died on the Enterprise B, totally fitting.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely love it. The Nexus thing, you can argue that's not really Kirk. That's just a shadow of Kirk, but it is Kirk because he got sucked out in space and whatever. It's not an image of him like Guinan was, but I know you're.
Well, tell me, are you surprised? Like, I guess more not what you think about it. What you think about my reactions to it. I guess that's the way of doing this.
It doesn't surprise me because as we were deciding to do this list, you're like, I know we'll differ on generations, and I'm like, yeah. I didn't even think about that until after I'd put it in my list, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now looking at my list, I'm kind of second guessing like one or two little choices might be slipped one over a couple, but
well, we can do it. We can do it at the end. See if our minds get changed at all, because I'm sure you might swap my. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it's lack of potential. You know, wasted potential is a big problem for me.
But I see, there's new good stuff in there. Like you get to see the Enterprise B, you get to see a new bridge on the Enterprise D. They try to bring back Lursa and B'Etor, but like I said, they feel so cheap and hollow as characters in that movie. I forgot how good they were because that movie does them no justice. So, the crashing of the Enterprise is a fantastic scene. A great moment in Star Trek history as far as visuals go. Very, very, very cool. So there's a lot of good, and I do like the tie-in with the original HMS Enterprise. I think that's kind of a neat little thing. Unnecessary for sure, but a good use of holodeck and tying in another Enterprise.
I just see it as they couldn't afford to make Patrick Stewart a new uniform. They had to borrow Captain Sisko's, but they could afford to make him a fully tailored sailor's outfit for 7 minutes.
Well, Riker had Sisko's.
But they all, well, yeah, you're right, he had a custom, but they couldn't afford to give most people new outfits, and yet they did that scene. It's like the budget just feels, you know, and the ending's kind of cheap as well. I know they had to reshoot that, but it's just, that was so much money, you know? So much money they put into that. It's weird. Like, and there's things they could have done. Like, imagine if they'd like pulled Picard in the next. Imagine if Kirk, rather than be in his house thing, what if he'd actually been on Enterprise B still, like trapped on the B, and then Picard goes onto the B and has to save him from the B to then pull him out of the Nexus. You know, imagine then you think it's going to be Kirk in the modern day, ends up being Picard in the past. That would have been satisfying too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was Nexus past, but you know, like then it'd been really cool to see the full TNG in the old uniform in the old set. But Stuart, at least Scotty bought a boat.
That's in Star Trek 6.
No, maybe.
Yes, it is.
You're right. It is. He does say something here though. What does he say in this one? They do.
Don't know. But Star Trek 6 is where it suits me. I just bought a boat.
No, you're right. But he's done something else here.
I don't know. No. I'll read the super chats after I go through mine. Maybe let's build some up here. Okay. All right. So my number 12.
Yes.
Is Into Darkness.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of people say this is the worst Star Trek film. I disagree.
Clearly not.
This is actually a guilty pleasure for me. Which should it be higher on the list? Maybe if it wasn't competing against other Star Trek movies. On a guilty pleasures list, this will probably be near the top. But unfortunately, I really love Cumberbatch, and you know, the crew. Like the casting for the JJ films is pretty good, honestly. This one is a fun action movie. It's a very much turn your brain off, pretend it's not Star Trek movie. But that being said, it's fun to watch. And plus, you got Carol Marcus. You got a whole bunch of really good things about that movie. So it is almost in last place. I think a lot of people expected it to be in last place for me, and it's just I can't. I'd rather watch this than Insurrection any day. Unless I'm, doing them in order or something, obviously. But I don't know. This is a fun one for me to watch. It's not a good Star Trek film at all. I don't know what else to say about that.
But it beats Insurrection. Okay.
It does beat Insurrection.
And so clear does 09. I mean, clearly 09 beats this as well, which I'm surprised about.
Barely. Like, honestly, the bottom three in my list are like in the same handful.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's 13, it's not 10. But those kind of are like,
honorable fails.
It doesn't matter which one I pick.
Honorable fails, Stuart.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, my count to that, I obviously can't disagree. Because that was, we haven't got to it in my list yet. Yeah, it's, I get it. I get it. And I just remember this one, particularly the cinema experience was a challenge. I don't know if you remember your cinema. This one stands out to me as a like, oh god, oh my god. The other ones didn't.
I went in so critical on this one. Yeah,
because 09, I remember expecting this one to be better, and also waiting for the Khan reveal the entire time, like waiting and think. And I remember getting right up to the point where he's revealed, and thinking, okay, he's gonna be like they haven't gone there. Like, they sold me on the fact that it wasn't. And I was like, I literally believe I saw it. They said, can't. I think I groaned. I said, oh, really? No, I did. I absolutely out loud said it. And I think I heard a couple of people be like, ugh. It was that dramatic a reaction. I like the ending, though. The ending's fun.
But the big standout for me in this movie was Carol Marcus.
It made something stand out for you.
Stand up.
Stands up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
so not much to say about it. We can't. We'll talk about them all again when we come around to them. So let's get to the super chats real quick. Got a few here. So not a band account, $2.
Thank you.
Star Trek Nemesis for number 1 Trek movie of all time.
And I'll briefly go, Stuart. We both thought the same about Nemesis until we watched it together, and we both changed our minds. I think that day.
Yeah.
Like, to some extent, like that was a shared experience.
It's one of those things though. It's like some of those episodes you're like, that was a pretty good episode, and then 6 months later, what happens in that episode?
Shit. Wait, no. Wait, we liked it, didn't we? Wait, why? I don't remember.
It's okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which we'll have for our season 4 retrospective on Saturday. Oh.
Matthew DeFridas, $5.
Thanks, Matthew. Good to see you.
Time is a companion that goes with us on the journey and reminds us to cherish every moment because it'll never come again. Made the movie great by itself. But time is a predator that stalks us.
And I liked the guy, but he's of a gimmick character. I guess so, Shinzon, but that happens to a lot of the villains. I don't know.
Shinzon's too gimmicky for me, but we'll get there.
But he's not number 13 or 12. So.
No. Sean O'Sullivan, €2.
Thank you.
Great callback in Picard to time as a fire speech.
Can't remember that, I'll be honest, but yeah, if it was there.
We probably mentioned it when we did the review.
Oh yeah, we're pretty thorough.
Olivia Julius, $5. No, precious, no. You'll not escape. From hell's heart I stab at thee. That's right, sake. I spit my last breath at thee.
Beautiful.
Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, €2.
Thank
yes,
you.
Cap. Guilty you should feel. Area 51, $5.
Thank you.
Into Darkness, where death and warp drive are rendered mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the episode beforehand, they could also beam and warp, so. Or the movie. Alright, my number 11 is... What do you think I'm going to say, Stuart?
Into Darkness.
Star Trek TMP, the motion picture.
Oh, wow.
In a similar vein, I'm going to say this each time because it's my logic. How many minutes of really good stuff? More than the last two?
12.
Okay, very specific. And I rewatched the director's cut over Christmas, so this is very, very fresh in my mind. And this isn't... I actually think more of it now than I did a few years ago, I think. But you've got to go in knowing it's not a great movie, but what it does good, it does quite well. But that's two different things, if you know what I mean. And the start's good. The end's a bit rushed, but good visually. It's always the middle. Always the middle. But there's actually a lot of character in this film, and I was quite impressed in this last rewatch how much Spock is given. And obviously, to get him back was the big, like, well, shit, we've got to give him something to do now because, they didn't think they were going to get Nimoy. But he has a really good arc in this film. And, like, it's almost a fully transformational arc, and that's actually really satisfying to watch. Kirk is great. Arrogant prick, but great. Bones, really good little arc as well. I still wish Alia and Decker didn't exist as characters. I know you had to sacrifice them at the end, but throw them out completely. You know, my vow of celibacy. Go. Come on, who the hell wrote that? I guess Gene Roddenberry. But like, there's some really stupid stuff, but there's also some really interesting stuff, and the visuals, and it's better than the other two, but like I said, if you compress down how many good minutes, there's not a lot, but there's way more than the other, way more than the other two. And I think you should definitely show like a fresh or a Star Trek fan like 30 minutes of this film, and you'd be like, that was great. Like if you were just trying to say, here is the 30 minutes.
Well, when you said how many minutes of good content, and I was thinking probably about 30 to 40, honestly.
Yeah. Obviously, it varies in quality from just being interesting to really good. Like there's just stuff with Deck that's interesting to see Kirk be a bit of a dick, but it's still good. It's just not as good as it could be. So yeah, for me, 13th least good. It had a stronger story, better pacing. I definitely think, as you said lots of times, the ending of the Klingons would have been a really good end. I know you already had an end, but take out the Decker Leia, make it something else, have that as the end. That would have been a nice full circle. And Director Scott definitely improves it for sure. But yeah, there you go. So what do you think? Are you surprised? You said Into Darkness, but this is Into Darkness above this for me. What do you think?
From a film maker's point of view, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that you did do that, though, as far as a Trek fan, but it is what it is. I'm not going to argue with you. It's your personal list, right?
Yeah.
What the motion picture does well, it does very well. Reimagining of the Enterprise, bringing the crew back together.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few great character moments, but it's all been done before. It's where Nomad had gone before. It's just a longer version of that episode, the Changeling. So, no, I get what you're coming from, and yeah, it is quite boring at times, but you know, that's a good time to check your phone, things like that.
And it's weird. It's because the idea of what's happening isn't boring. It's just presented boringly. Like going through Vija, if it was shorter with a more paid, like them saying more things and not just cut into reaction shot, CG reaction shot, CG reaction. Like it's the way they do it, not the concept. Flying over that thing is very cool. If it was done better, it's not what they're doing; it's how they're doing it, and that's annoying.
Yeah. I don't have too much else to say about that. We'll talk about it when we get to mine. I got some super chats though. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Soren is Siddiq's uncle in real life. Shifty Section 31 family. Yes, they are related. Did you know that?
Sorry, no, I was reading another super chat. What?
Oh, yeah. No, though. Alexander Siddig is related to Malcolm McDowell.
Oh yes.
Yes.
I remember that. Good.
Shifty Section 31 family. That's funny. Olivia Julius, $10.
Thank you.
Puggies. I like it. It's like a predator. It's stalking you. Well, you can try and outrun it with doors, beds, new technologies, treats. You should have put treats in there. But in the end, time is going to hunt you down and make the kill. Matthew DeFreitas, $2. Samuel, when are you getting a TMP uniform?
When I'm given one for free.
The only one I will get will be the Admiral Kirk uniform because it's sharp looking. I don't care what anybody says. That's a good looking uniform.
It's still in the lower tier of uniforms, but it's definitely a decent uniform.
It's the best one from that movie.
Which is not saying anything, though. That's the problem. That's not saying a damn thing. But I mean, like I said, I would wear it if it was given to me, a good one, because I'm not like I'd also wear a JJ one if I was given a nice one. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine, sure, whatever. But I'm not ever going to spend any money on it. Sorry. You know? It's like I'm never going to buy a Dustbuster TNG phaser. It's like, that's not worth anything to me, really. You know?
Yeah.
Money is money. Money has value, you know?
That's after you won the lottery and you have nothing else to spend your money on. It's like,
yeah,
complete my phaser collection now.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
95 likes, though, with 143 people here. Guys, let's get to 120 likes. We can do that easily. Do it. Blew it to do it. Not a band account, $2. Could any Enterprise senior staff be Section 31? I could see Chekhov being Section 31.
Oh, well, yeah. I think it means like during the shows more.
I could see. That's what I mean.
Ooh.
He was brainwashed or implanted with like something when he was young. That's why he was
Ooh.
so young and so like. I don't know. Yeah, I can see that.
I would, if I would be fine in the sense of Reed, like they did a mission but didn't realize it was Section 31. I wouldn't say any of them would actively be it, but passively a mission, sure. Yeah.
Matt Boardman, $5. Thank you very much, Matt. Aside from Kirk's Admiral's uniform, the rest of the TMP uniforms look like PJs. Absolutely, yes.
PJs that
looks like Kirk was,
sorry.
It looks like Kirk was the only one that got dressed that day. It's like Christmas morning. The whole crew is like still in their PJs, and he's like decided to put on a button-up shirt and a jacket.
And you know, I mean, most PJs don't show the bulge as much either. They're specially designed PJs to show to highlight. It's like oi, oi. All right, Stuart, I'm excited. What is your number 11? Mine was TMP. I'm correct. Yours is not going to be TMP here. I'm absolutely sure that's going to be much higher on the list. So what is your 11?
My 11 is 2009.
Ooh. Okay.
Again, this is a movie. You got to remember, this is the movie I saw 7 times in theaters.
I remember. Do you hold your head in shame?
I do. First time I watched it, I was like, this is great. This is awesome. And I walked out of the theater going, something doesn't feel right. Went back and watched it a few times, and each time I watched it, I got more and more mad. I was just hoping that it would get better, and it just got worse.
You hope they edited it differently every time you see it.
I'm one of those people that if I hear a song, and the first time I hear it, I love the song, I'll end up hating that song very quickly. If it's a song that I kind of like, that's all right, it grows on me. So this was a movie I went into really excited for, really hopeful for. Went in, watched it. The first time I watched it was like when my first date with Sylvia, so that's probably another reason I really like the movie. But anyway, I just wanted it to be better, and it just wasn't. It let me down in so many regards. And the biggest thing for me was the Enterprise. If you had the Disco Prize in there as instead of the Ryan Church Enterprise, I would have been feeling a lot better about that movie over all these years. The Enterprise is my favorite character, and yes, it's a character. It was shittily cast in that movie, unfortunately.
Even though the source was just the TMP refit with a different bridge module,
but it's too rounded. It's not.
But I mean, it's close. I mean, they just stole it. Like it's the same almost, and then it's just the other stuff. Like it's so similar and then so different. It's not like a nice hybrid. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I mean, there's again great moments. Pike is great. You know, the Enterprise bridge is a total letdown. Like the bridge is also where you spend most of your time. That is also a super letdown for me. Like I would have liked a nicer bridge. Again, the one on the Disco Prize bridge would have been great. Would have been, this is a reboot done properly. It's exactly how it should look. Good job, guys. But no. So yeah, that's basically it. It's down there with the bottom 3 of the dregs.
But
so now we get into the top 10.
But over Into Darkness. Why over Into Darkness?
Because it has that optimistic feel to it, going in like it's going to be good, and that first couple minutes is great with the Kelvin, and you hear the classic sounds. I don't know. It feels. Plus, you got more Spock, like prime timeline Spock in it, as a bit of a tie-in. So I think that's one of the reasons. I think it's above Into Darkness for me. It's a good question though. But yeah, they're very close, these ones. So.
Yeah. That's why the gut reaction is interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, I can understand why people like this film, but those people also like films that have a lot less form, structure, and thought. Not everything has to have thought, but you know, there's a reason things win Oscars and get awards, and you know, some things are just better written, better thought out. And this feels like a movie where they didn't feel the need to make it a good Trek movie. Like that was not on them. I mean, they've talked about that. You know, they were Star Wars fans mostly. This is their way of making a Star Wars movie in the Star Trek universe without calling it Star Wars. And there's even like we've seen so many parallels in visuals with this and the Star Wars movies, because JJ this was his casting note. You know, this was his pitch for doing Star Wars. Look, I can do all the things, and they make Star Wars, and it's like, yeah.
That's the other thing. The casting is superb, but it's kind of underused, and it's like they only watch like the first 2 or 3 episodes of TOS, where Spock's in the captain's chair and Charlie X and Uhura's like, "Tell me about the moon on Vulcan, Mr. Spock." Vulcan has no moon, and they're like, "Oh yeah, those two have a relationship. Clearly, let's write that in." Like, they didn't watch any of TOS. They watched the first couple episodes, didn't really pay attention, and okay, we can write a script now. You know, that's how it feels.
And they misunderstood Kirk. He's not a womanizer. If you watch the show, he never was. He's not a risk taker. Not really. He never was. He was actually very good at his job, very strong officer. Spock never loved Uhura, and he's not that emotional, not that aggressive, not that violent. He was not at the academy that young and wrote the correction movie. That doesn't make sense. He's too young for that. Uhura is fine, but she's too OP, you know, and too important to the story. No offense to her. I would rather have balanced out the 3 or the 4 sides than just have her. And you know, don't give Scotty transport beaming 250 years later.
And they gave Scotty Kiesner for some reason. Like, what the fuck? What is that?
Well, selling toys. I'd say there's no reason. Just sell toys.
And they didn't sell any toys, really.
No, they didn't. And then you have a scene in water pipes where they're not drowning for like 3.5-4 minutes, and you're thinking, this is the Enterprise, huh? When CGI is complicated but also easy in certain ways, just it's an embarrassing film. It's an embarrassing film. But you wouldn't
ran out of money, unfortunately, for the engineering room. But
just embarrassing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the less we talk about it, the better.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get some super chats.
Well, hold on. Charlie says, Samuel, did I see you in the Rush's Tesco in Loughborough? I don't think so. I haven't been out of the town for a while. And Loughborough is a long way from me. So unless I teleported, no, it wasn't me. Maybe it was Pogo.
Pogo guy.
Yes, there you go, Jinx.
All right. Olivia Julius. Foley, you left Space Dock without a tactical puggy. Cockings. She won't be here until Tuesday.
Tactical puggy.
Battle pug.
Oh, goodness.
Olivia Julius, another $5. The Dots wish to negotiate a ceasefire. It may have to do with the fact that we only have 3 minutes of air left.
That's a good line. That's a good part. That's a good moment. Very satisfying.
Sean O'Sullivan, €2. TMP uniforms reused for enlisted only. Took red dye.
I don't think that's the case, but I know why you're saying that. Definitely vibe-wise. I'm pretty sure they torched all the uniforms made. Oh, dear.
Not a band account, $2. Spock's childhood, missing his sister and brother.
That's true. Yeah.
We'll get to a brother soon. Eugene, 500 rubles. Ironic. I would consider Enterprise exterior and the bridge and Carl Urban and Giacchio soundtrack the only good things in 2009 movie. Dude, yes, the soundtrack is phenomenal. The soundtrack is one of my favorite things from that movie. And yes, Carl Urban's great. The casting's great. But the Enterprise is a hulking piece of shit.
The corridor's okay. The transport room's okay, but they're just like shiny versions of the same. There's nothing cool.
I'm done. Yeah, no.
And also,
that being said, it's better than the one in Into Darkness where they changed the struts, and then even better than the one in Beyond where they really changed the struts into these. I don't know what the hell they were. Banana struts is what they were called.
Yeah. Speaking
of, seeing that thing get its throat slit, that just made my day in the theater. I was like, oh. So excited.
We were happy that day. I know we had Trekyards, so we were both thinking that we're both going to enjoy this.
Yep.
Although you mentioned something a second, I wanted to jump back on to the soundtrack. Yeah, I know you say that, but which movie hasn't got a good soundtrack? I can't think of the Into Darkness one, to be honest, but every other, even Insurrection has a good soundtrack. Nemesis is a great soundtrack. Like, they all have good soundtracks. That all of them stand out. Maybe not Star Trek 5 as much. I can't really think of that one either. But like, they have a lot of good soundtracks. So I don't know if that.
I don't remember the one from Nemesis and Insurrection necessarily.
Really?
Kind of white noise for me.
Ah, I think Nemesis.
But 2009 was good because it reimagined Star Trek music. And it's great. It's like, that's like one of the best parts of that movie is the soundtrack.
I mean, obviously, it's low enough on your list to say it doesn't beat the other ones because of the soundtrack. I'm just saying, Starry movies have good soundtracks normally. There is a very musically adept set of films. Okay, that's your number 11. My number 10 was Into Darkness. No, you were right on that one. You were one away. But it is better than TMP, and it is better than it is 3 better than 09 for me, which is the opposite for you pretty much, because it doesn't rely on the alternate universe bullshit because they don't get that right. Kelvin doesn't look prime, therefore they're lying. It doesn't make sense. Make the interior prime if you're gonna make it prime, whatever. It is a more interesting movie. There's a lot more character things going on. Has a more interesting plot. Karen Marcus is great in it. Khan's great in it. Marcus is great, as both Marcuses are great in it. Kirk's pretty good in it. Spock's better in it because he's not punching people. I mean, he's not punching Kirk. There's a sense of balance that comes over the film. They're not as absurd in characterization. And they are given a bit more time to grow. Obviously, you have a ton of stupid shit, as they always do. That's why it's so low on the list. But it's definitely got more minutes of fun. And I will defend it. I like having it be the reverse of Spock and Kirk at the end. That, to me, is, of all the things you could do, there's 8 things you could do to that moment. Having that swap-a-roo is interesting, at least. That is the reverse. And just way more than I would actually choose to watch this. I would just be not thrilled. Does that make sense? There's enough in this film, I think. I probably wouldn't watch the first thing that literally makes zero sense. They didn't even research cold fusion. That's the thing. There's so little logic in this film, but there's more interesting moments in this film. And so cinematography is pretty well done cinematographically. It's actually pretty good in that respect. But he should have been John Harrison, not Khan. Easy. And he's Section 2 agent gone rogue. All the better.
And they can still fix that. Like I said, one of his Supermen got thought out. Yeah. Khan was still thought in one of the 72 years. Yeah. He's got ambition. He's got enhanced ambition. So he said he was Khan. Why not?
But this is so close to me, having this above TMP. It's real close. Let's just be clear. I just think there's slightly more minutes of interesting in this. I don't know. But I was real close. I just couldn't, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
Okay, interesting. Well, my number 10 is Star Trek Beyond.
Hold on. 13, 12, will it? Where did my number 10 go? Or do I have 2 9s?
I don't know.
I'm confused now. Hold on. My numbering is slightly off. I have 2 number...
Well, guys,
what? Oh yeah, I have 2 number 12s. And therefore they put them in their own order. So I may have swapped Generations and Into Darkness, but I can't be sure. Because they both say 12. I don't know if I'm going to... I feel like I have to stick with it now, because I've argued for an hour.
They're probably so close it doesn't matter anyway.
Okay.
110 likes. Let's get those up to 130, guys. We have 160 people here, so let's get 130 hit. 20 more people hit like.
Yes, apologies.
Anyway, yes.
Your number 10 is?
My number Beyond. Star Trek Beyond. Again, it's still a Kelvin film, but it is the best of the Kelvin films. And again, seeing the Enterprise get its throat cut, get the cells stripped off of it, and then destroyed, awesome. Seeing the new Enterprise at the end, awesome. Good hope for Star Trek 4. Never mind. Well, I hear there's 15 scripts that I keep hearing articles, so there's 15 versions of it going to be out. So, but no, it's actually, it ties in canon, or tries to with Enterprise and stuff, with the Makos and the Franklin being a Warp 4 ship. And Idris Elba's good, but I really don't like the whole premise of he was a human that is now not a human, and then the MacGuffin thing, and then this Yorktown base near this weird anomaly like Nebula. There's just a lot of
JJ-isms.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Just dumb.
But that being said, out of the 3 JJ films, it is the best. and was a definite step in the right direction as far as those went. Felt more like Star Trek, especially the first like 20 minutes of it. Definitely felt good, and then the rest kind of got the motorcycle thing was kind of stupid. And
well,
there was some stupid stuff.
It definitely goes downhill.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 10. It's just kind of, again, it's an action film. It's fun. I'd much rather watch it than Insurrection.
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, though, because it means that I have, out of my bottom 4, I have 2 JJs and 2 non-JJs, but you have all 3 JJs and Insurrection. Which, boy, it's so weird to put that below all 3 JJ. But hey-ho. Yeah, so that's number 10. That would be your 10th favourite of the top 10. Okay.
Yes.
And now we get to only Prime, only original.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Super chat, Stuart.
Yes. Well, before that, we have 124 likes. I wanted 130, guys. 6 more likes. Hit that like button if you haven't. Let's see. Matt Boardman, $5. My issue with the 2009 present Trek is too many cool wow moments and not enough purpose behind things that connective tissue or needs that connective tissue. Yeah, that's what makes Star Trek Star Trek. Star Trek isn't a formula that's good on the big screen, unfortunately. It's more of a TV formula. So,
well, they still can't do that right most of the time, apparently.
Wow.
Because you give them a 10-episode book and they still can't do it, Picard. They managed to tell 4 better 2-hour TNG stories with Picard than a 10-hour story with Picard. Just saying.
It's true. It's true. James McGill, $2. Could JJ-verse be salvageable by redoing all Starship? No. Unfortunately, there's too many issues with it. That being said, there's issues with every one of these films. We should actually do a live talking about everything that doesn't make sense in all these movies, because all of them have things that can be called out for just being stupid. So, but I mean, fixing the ship, having the ship be something I was interested in and liked when I first saw it on screen. Let's get this clear: the first time I saw it, I was not happy. Where the shuttle's flying up to it.
Well, it's just in summary, the art design was a mistake. If the art design was more in keeping, that made more sense and felt better, then the story's like, okay, the story's not great, but the film, feels more. That's why for all the problems with TMP, it does have the correct art aesthetic. They haven't. It's still got its own thing.
Olivia Julius, $5.
Thank you.
Royal Pet Groomer. My God, what have I done? Cream. What you had to do, what you always do, turn a terrifying dog into a lazy lap pug. Oh, what do you do?
How long do you think she preps these? Like, do you think she went back like in a truck and like prepped these for a couple of days, just have a list of them, or these are all?
No, she's making them up as she goes. She's looking up Star Trek quotes, I'm sure.
Okay.
But the pug appreciates to preside over the proceedings.
Yes. All right, you ready, Stuart?
I am.
My number 9, Star Trek 5. Has more good stuff than Star Trek Into Darkness, obviously. But it has a ton of mistakes. And they're not like canon destroying mistakes, but these are not good story ideas that you did in a good way mistakes. So now we're in like canon is canon, good job guys, but why would it not be? You've done 4 movies. But you chose that. But it has some very good stuff in it. But those are sort of one note. And they're very... You can pinpoint the quality minutes. Pull them out. And the rest of it is... I mean, honestly, a TOS episode, if you want to break it down, like... it's a pretty basic bitch TOS episode. Actually, I never really thought about that way. But it's just a long episode, really, Star Trek 5. Insurrection... at least has a climactic end battle with CG. This has a non-climatic non-battle with non-CG. But obviously you have the main... we all love the main 3. That's the only reason this film does really good. The main 3 are great, and Cyborg's great. but the rest of it falls down in every scene pretty much. And they could have saved so much money on stupid choices. Well, the Klingons are great though. I mean, and it's not even Shatner. That's the thing. It's not Shatner. It's he needed a team around him. Like he needed more A ability people around him. Maybe to refine the script a little bit, give him more money to appreciate the sets better. He needed to like his co-stars better, to include them more. That would have helped a ton. Or a producer that was above him saying, Bill, you gotta give Chekhov more than 12 lines, and 5 of them can't be in one scene. Like, they need that sort of guy to come in and say, no, Bill, they have to be part of the story, properly part of the story. Except them, because they are for the first chunk. Then they become non-entities. They should have continued and helped solve it. So it's a heavily imbalanced film. But like I say, if you removed the campfire, it would not be a good film. But it is strong enough to elevate it. But it's number 9, so it's of the lower end of my spectrum there. Your thoughts on my thoughts?
Yeah.
Don't spoil your thoughts, just your thoughts on my thoughts.
I do agree with the feeling that it is a long TOS episode, because it absolutely is.
I never thought about that. Don't know if you did, but I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, okay. I have. It's very much TOS plot, meeting God. Like, come on. That's exactly what would happen. And plus, you got the trifecta, the Spock, Kirk, and McCoy moments, which are great. And that's what makes the film really good for me. Also, a few little other things like the bridge and stuff. But
just comment on my thoughts.
I'm trying to think what you said.
Weak story. Everyone else isn't used. You know, I'm not sure you can disagree with these things.
It's not really a weak story. It's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a Star Trek story.
Yes,
it's a good premise. It just wasn't handled properly.
I guess
it wasn't
good plot, bad story. It's one of those two. Like it's the brief is really good. The execution is not good. Well, it's like Nemesis, isn't it? Nemesis is like a good idea, just wasn't executed properly.
The introduction of Sybok was unnecessary.
He's good though. And he sells it so well.
He's a great actor. Great actor for sure. But to retcon Spock having a brother, it's like, oh yeah, I just never told you about it.
But the thing
it's
is,
just kind of like,
but he
could have had to be an admiral that came on board and commandeered the Enterprise. You could have been one of the main characters, get zapped by something, and all of a sudden start acting wrong.
Yeah, a Vulcan on the ship. What if you brought not Valeris? What if you brought Savick back and she's seen God?
Perfect.
That could have been
perfect. Cool. Yeah.
And she knows the crew, so she's able to take over. That'd actually be really kind of cool. And then be like, well, which Savick do we bring back? Shit.
I'm just saying you could make the story better, but the story's a good idea. That's a good premise. It just wasn't quite handled the way it should have been. Plus, there was a lack of budget with that film. Like they really scaled it back for him, and that's a shame. It was like his first directing thing. So he kind of suffered in a lot of different ways.
Because the directing isn't bad. It really isn't. It's the seams around it. You know, he's getting good performances out of people. Legitimately good performances. Yeah. You know, Captain Chekhov is great. Sybok's great. Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, it's not a movie you watch to enjoy half of it. You know. At least for me, like that's not why you watch it, and that's is what it is.
Well, my number 9. If we're ready for that.
Yeah, sure.
My number 9 is Nemesis.
Oh, so went from TNG film to 3 JJs back to TNG. You're shitting on the TNG films here, Stuart. And actually, you've now got all the last 5 films. You're saying the worst 5 of the last 5. Weak.
Yep, it's downward slope.
Weak.
Nemesis. What can I say about Nemesis?
Genesis?
No. Nemesis.
Just
how can you be deaf with ears like that? Anyway, Nemesis is again an interesting idea for, and it's got. Don't get me wrong, the battle scenes are fantastic in this. Well, they're good. They're not really fantastic, but the Scimitar being an OP ship like that is just like too much. It's like it's too OP compared to the Enterprise. It's to ramp up the threat, you know, for the crew, and then the Therion thing. was a bit much as well. Like there's too much layered on this, and then the whole Shinzon plan of the clone of Picard. Really, again, good idea and premise. This would have made a better miniseries than a movie, but plus the Viceroy with the Remans didn't really work for me. The whole Troy tracking the ship with her mind bullshit. There's just a lot here that I don't like. Again, this is a movie that probably has a good half hour of content for me, and the rest is just kind of like, all right, it's cool. Seeing the Romulan Senate was great, but really, you think, why are they so old school, like Romans? Like, I get it, they're trying to do parallels, but even the Federation, the Council, whatever you see in Star Trek 4, where they're Kirk on trial, they got a big monitor at the end where they show shit. It's not like an old ancient building. Like, I just don't think the Romulans would be into that necessarily. I don't know how to justify where I put it. It's just enjoyment factor thing. So, yeah, that's kind of where I am with that.
Yeah, and I'll briefly respond, and then you can jump on super chats. We've got lots. Brilliant. Keep them coming, guys. We want to know your thoughts. I mean, I think it's one of the things where personal preference, you know, I think it's definitely a better idea on paper. And I've heard from several people that the script was much better, which is sad.
Yeah.
And it's not they had lack of money; they're actually good money, and for this one, at least relatively speaking. I think the Troy thing's okay, but it's not a great idea. But at least it's logical in the vague sense. Like there is at least backing behind it, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Scimitar again, personal preference. I mean, you know, Whale Probe's OP, Vija's OP. I mean, they're all OP, so I'm not going to call that.
But they're all unexplained. They're not made by the fucking Romulans. Like it just.
Well,
they're unexplained threats made by unexplained who knows who made them.
Yeah. Whereas
this is the Romulans, you think they'd have more ships that would be like, I don't know. And then it's also a Reman ship.
Yeah.
Put on top of that, which is what is happening right now? I don't know. It just came out of nowhere for me, and it's enjoyable. I don't mind it. Like you said, we watched it together and like, pretty good. But
it's also weird because you know that Brent wanted him character to die, and it's not quite. It doesn't pay off like he thinks it pays off.
Yeah.
And I did watch some deleted scenes recently, and some I had never seen before. There's like an extended list, like 21 minutes of deleted scene or something, and there's some really good moments. Like there was a Lord of the Rings style epilogue with like 9 scenes of 4 different characters, and it's like that's a good scene. Shit. I mean, it would have made the film longer, but you know, it's some good little extra bonus moments. Some that was like, what the hell?
The Wesley deleted scene would have been nice. Like, why the fuck was he at the wedding?
He's chasing a girl. Brilliant, lovely moment. Yeah, it's it's a film literally directed by a non-Star Trek fan. Now that's not a prerequisite, but he was an editor or a visual effects artist. Like he didn't know what he decided to give Worf after 17 years of voice effect because he thought aliens needed voice effects, and it's like, sorry, have you not watched any of the 17 years? It's like, seriously?
A voice effect? What do you mean?
Watch the film. He's got a voice modulation. He's like, he's got voice modulation. Yeah. He's dubbed over with a weird voice effect. It barely speaks in the film, but he's not speaking as Michael Dorn. He's speaking as a voice effect.
Damn.
Yeah, because he thought aliens. It's like that's not right though, is it? So, yeah. But yeah, I just there's more minutes of good here for me than TMP. You get more of the cast. You get a great battle. The beginning's okay.
I disagree. Even the action scenes are slow. It's shot weird. It's a funny look. I don't know. And then the whole Argo thing, like I want to drive a car.
That's true. That is true. I guess I blocked that out of my brain.
Yeah. B4 was a great idea, but weirdly executed again. Like, how did they know that they were going to find? I don't know. Sorry for this one. It's fine for me, but there's more that like I said, I'd much rather watch and or show to a non-Star Trek fan. So I'll get to the super chats now, real quick.
Yes.
Olivia Julius, $50 damn dollars. Thank you so much, Olivia.
That makes a big difference.
Samuel.
Oh, God.
Sir, does tactile contact alter your perception of the precious? Stuart. Oh, yes. For humans, touch can connect you to the puggy in a very personal way. Makes it seem more real. Once a connection is made, you will never use the bathroom alone again. That is 100% true. It's like you're almost a pug owner. Oh, they're like a shadow. They follow you around everywhere. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. What does God need with a full-length feature film? What does he need with the best-selling book of all time? It's just a thing. Not a band account, $2. Was Cat Lady Dancer with 3 balloons Shatner's idea? Probably.
He had a lot of ideas in this movie.
Yeah. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Retconning a sibling for Spock. Bad idea. Never again. Right? It can only get worse. What's the next one going to be? Human? Seriously.
I'm absolutely fine with the retcon because he was you wouldn't. Would you mention the brother that betrayed your family that you try and forget? No. Burnham makes more sense to mention as she was in Starfleet. He only knows Cyborg for a couple of years, left and betrayed everybody.
You can't talk about her because it's classic.
Oh yeah, sure, they retcon that, but
actually, yeah, she makes more sense actually.
But I mean, you wouldn't talk about Cyborg. Why would you? It's not something you Spock's,
true. It would never come up.
Yeah, Spock's quite a sense of dignity, etc. You wouldn't talk about Cyborg unless, yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it did a good job. It's not just, hey, I've got a brother. It's like, no, you've got a very specific sort of brother, half brother.
Olivia Julius, $5. Foley, if we were to assume these pugs are ours to do with as we please, we would be guilty as those who caused their extinction.
Oh, goodness. Dark.
I have a photographic memory. I see words. Not a band account, $5. Star Trek Nemesis. I've never trusted CBS, and I never will. I can never forgive them for the death of my data. Let them financially die. It's a good mashup of Nemesis and Star Trek 6 there, but James McGill, $2. Star Trek 5, one of the worst Star Treks, seems to be the most fixable. They're all fixable. They're all fixable with minor alterations, actually. I think. Even the JJ stuff.
Don't start in the prime timeline, change the ship. Boom. Yep. Big improvement there and then. That's all you need.
Yep.
My number 8?
Oh, we got one more super chat first.
Okey-dokey.
Livia Julius, $10. Ladies and gentlemen, an invited transgender species. In my study of Puggy and Chihuahua congregal rights, I have discovered it is tradition to present the happy couple with a chew toy. Goodness.
Dear me.
Thank you for keeping us entertained, Olivia. All right, so yes, what is your number 8?
So my 9 was Star Trek 5, but I'm going to join you on the Nemesis train. 1 higher for me.
Really?
Not a lot. Only 1 higher.
That surprises me. I thought you'd be a lot higher with Nemesis.
Oh. No, only number 8 is my... Yeah, 8.
Okay.
So, better than Star Trek 5 because they use more of the crew and they use them more. And there's certainly a better sense of, a full crew finality. The CG, the sets, all that stuff's better than 5 for the most part, which obviously helps. And when we watched it, it was a good journey. You are making good points. The Argo and stuff are annoying, but in the context they're shown, they aren't logical leaps, which is annoying in itself. Like, you say them, but when you watch the film, you're like, well, yeah, they have to go they have to go down, and they have to travel. Like, it's presented in a way that sort of works. It just could have been done better and should have been done better, but there is a certain logic there. The makeup's really phenomenal. Shinzo actor's really good. He doesn't harness any of Patrick Stewart, I would say, like, at all, but he's not meant to. Like, he is meant to, but he feels different. Honestly, I would have preferred, and let me know what you think, Stuart, if they had just had Patrick Stewart play both roles. Honestly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. And just, you obviously have less scenes, it's all on view screen, whatever. I think that would have been a stronger moment. Maybe he's either got hair or he's, like, heavily scarred. Maybe he's lost an eye. Can I go Chang a little bit? I think that would have been better. let Patrick. But then you've also got 2 Datas and 2 Picards. Then you are literally just doing the same thing. So I get that, sure, but I wouldn't have had necessarily beef. That's a whole different discussion. But it's a decent film, a decent adventure. Has a lot of scale, a lot of. You see Romulus, you get a real sense of their culture at the highest end you've never seen before. So it has a lot of very canon-y. The Remans I thought were interesting. Scimitar's a great design. Valdor's a great design. Great actress lady, great costumes. It's got a lot of stuff that works well in the universe. It's just a story that should have been done better. And you are right, some weak moments, but it actually is Star Trek V falls down in lots of chunky areas for me. This holds itself up as one big piece, barely. Does that make sense? The Argo's close. The Argo's very, very close, but it kind of holds itself as okay, I get it as one big film. Doesn't mean it's got weak bits, but it just holds up barely.
But going back to another thing I said too, it's weirdly shot. It's so dark, and not dark as in tone, even though it is.
Yeah, it's very contrasty.
There's a really even the interior shots of when they're toasting to Data at the end and shit it's just not lit well compared to other Star Treks. And it really bothers me when I watch that film.
It's the opposite of Generations. We're going for really bright and contrasty, but now we're going for really dark and contrasty. Neither looks good on those sets. Weirdly, Insurrection, all the sets look brilliant because they're lit nicely and gently and like a TV show, like you said. But the Enterprise looks great in. I always go back to Insurrection when I'm trying to find screen captures of the sets because they used them brightly. First Contact, they make him Borgified when they should get on the sets, so you can't. You know what I mean? Like Insurrections are really good for sets. They don't want to spend money on the sets. Yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts.
Wow. Okay. Well, my number 8.
Yes.
And again, I think my 8 and 7 should be swapped, but that's okay. That's how I have them.
Okay.
My number 8 is the motion picture.
Okay.
Again, we've talked about it quite a bit, but about half an hour of good content in there, and it's basically just the Changeling redone for the big screen. And the best thing about it, though, is honestly the approach to the Enterprise, seeing the new Enterprise in space dock, getting the new interiors. Although I really hate the way it's filmed. Focus on Kirk's face and everything else is blurred out behind him. What the hell kind of filming technique is that? I don't even know how they achieved that. But anyway. But yeah, getting the crew back together it's fun to see. And I was too young at the time because I was born in '74, so I didn't see it on the big screen for the first time, and not having seen the Enterprise since TOS and seeing this reveal. So I don't know exactly how it feels, but I understand how people, because listening to my brother and stuff who's talked about it, I understand how big of a deal that was to see the new Enterprise and why that scene is so long, because we've been in quarantine almost as long as that scene takes place.
Almost, not quite.
Exactly. But I get it. I get why that was impactful and why that was so important. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there was originally another cut of music for that scene, which had no, the original score for it wasn't quite there. And it just doesn't work. It's kind of forgettable. There's no actual Star Trek theme in it.
Oh.
I'll have to send you the video because I know you like soundtracks.
Yeah. And
I just saw this not that long ago that it makes a huge difference.
Hey, send me the link, man. That sounds fun.
I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. But yeah, it's a good movie. I like the idea, the concept, but it's just not handled well. Again, it's too drawn out, too look what we can do. Look at the effects we can do. Ooh, let's hold on this for way too long. But to see new Klingon ships, new Klingons, which pissed a lot of people off at the time, go figure. There's a lot in it that's worthy of not being super low on the list, So.
Well, and what's interesting about this one is that its best scenes, I think, are the 3 characters together. Because they recapture something. Even though Spock is different, there's an interesting energy there. And especially McCoy and Kirk, they are right back as the friends. And I just rewatched this over Christmas. Those are really solid scenes. and seeing the Spock journey. Like if you just cut to those scenes, you'd be like, that is a Star Trek V prequel. You know, like has that vibe, just younger as they obviously are. I just think the story is relatively weak. Compared to, like, Nemesis has a bit more to it. Or the same on our list, obviously. But
one's Star Trek, one's action movie. Like the Star Trek really devolved into action movie territory, and you can see it with a lot of the films.
But it's only an action movie at the end, though. Nemesis isn't an action movie most of it, just at the end. Then it has an epic climactic. I mean, TMP is just a traveling... I mean, remember, all TMP does, they fly at warp, they fly at impulse, and they get stuck inside the thing. They don't move. It's all a story. But it's a passive adventure.
It's a science fiction concept story, and it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's slow moving. It's focusing on visual effects. It's sci-fi. Nemesis is a terrorist attacks the Romulan or the Russian Senate, blows everybody up, and the Americans have to go over there and make peace with them. It's that kind of action movie, spy movie.
Go back 1 second. TMP starts with an alien entity destroys 3 Klingons, destroys our array. A terrorist being kills a lot of people. So no, they start the same. They start with death.
They don't though.
They start.
They don't though. One's a sci-fi thing. One could be.
But surprisingly similar openings, like mass death. Yeah, I just, it could be 40 minutes shorter, and that's a problem for any film. That's not a selling point for a film. But that's interesting. We put those in the same thing. My number 7, Stuart, is... So this is better than Nemesis for me. Is Insurrection. I had to think, but I will put Insurrection above Nemesis.
What?
And that is 5 places above yours.
That's because you just watched it.
I did just watch it, which does change.
Fresh in your mind.
Well, I just watched TMP as well, and that's 4 lower. So no, let's not say that.
You're more of a TNG guy because you're younger.
So the reason I'm going to give Insurrection that above Nemesis is because Insurrection is a much better Star Trek movie than Nemesis. Nemesis, you're right, has that action. Insurrection is a good Star Trek movie. It just failed as a movie more than Nemesis. But it's a much better Star Trek movie. Nemesis focuses on, just like 5, etc., focuses on Kirk, Shinzon, focuses on Picard, Data, Shinzon. Everyone else gets side treatment, especially Worf. Fuck off Worf, they don't care. Troy gets raped. Fuck off Troy, she gets raped. Geordie, you know what I mean? Dismiss the entire cast. Insurrection, everyone is used. Everyone gets a moment. It's in 2 teams. Everyone has fun. Everyone gets to do cool stuff. Everyone gets good lines. They get to go on location, which looks great. The sets look great. The battle's pretty good for the time. The clouds still look amazing. The ship model's bad, but whatever. Our Raffle, the makeup's brilliant. I think it's a great performance. The Admiral's great. I love the fact that, the Federation Council actually approves this mission. That tells you a lot. Duck Blind's a great idea. The intro's are great. The music's a bit... but because it's too overdone, but it's a good Star Trek idea. Yes, the middle is the weakest part, but it's got a darn good opening and a pretty good closing. It's just the middle, like they literally just walk through fields and into set rocks, and then you're right, stopping time, all that bullshit. There's a chunk of bad, but around that is some really good, like solid Star Trek with everyone doing good stuff.
That can be said about every one of these movies, though. The exact same thing.
But this has more really than those. Solid stuff. But this has more for me. More minutes by quite a long margin. And definitely better use of characters. It uses the cast better than TMP, better than Nemesis, better than Star Trek V, as in the entire cast. And TNG is an ensemble cast, so you expect them to use an ensemble better. Like Generation doesn't use the cast at all, really. So if I had more money, if I had ILM, and if it had a better middle, this would be a much, much better film. And that is not a lot of things to change. That is very, very few things for me to change to raise it above. It's just a better overall Star Trek movie. And 2 episodes. What? How many good two parts have we had? Oh no, best of both worlds. Oh no, UFL. Yeah, let's look down upon the 2-parters. No, it's fine. It's all good. There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, use the crew better.
Yeah, my breasts are a lot firmer.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And come on, the Forge getting to see a sunrise for the first time. That's a lovely scene. Levada's beautiful in that moment. Beautiful.
If you're into that kind of thing.
He knows it's cast. Yeah.
And like we guys are guys, so.
Sorry, what?
We got some super chats though.
Excellent.
I just said, yeah, this is our personal list, like just our enjoyment factor. So it's it can change too as well. Like
it does change, I'm sure.
Yeah. More Cat's Den puts in $5.
Thank you.
Came across you guys about a week to 10 days ago.
Wow.
I just want to say that I think y'all are absolutely awesome. Haven't stopped nerding out since. That is great to hear. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the new people. Go back and watch all of our content. We got a lot.
All of it.
It'll take you a long time. We should figure out how long it'll take.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much for super chatting and joining the live. Make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, notified.
Yes.
Hit like. We still haven't hit 150 likes with 183 people here.
Oh, goodness. Wow, yeah. And we do lives at the same time every couple of days, so do check in for that. And if you like the Star Trek shows, or even if you just want to have a really in-depth conversation, definitely join back in for those, because we do a lot of content when those come out.
Yes. And thank you for super chatting and being part of the community. We got a great bunch of regulars that join us for the live, so if you join us, you'll get to know them. Alex Mackey puts in £5. The new look, Klingons, the Katinga ships. I saw this movie 9 times on the big screen. Visual joy. I was in my late teens. Okay, the story is cold. Treacle. Yeah, I could imagine, just for the time, because this isn't when movies were, blockbusters like this were new, essentially. This was, now it's a dime a dozen shit like this, so back then it was like, this is a big deal, right after Star Wars as well. So yeah, wish I could have seen it in theaters. Damn, for the first time.
But watch the director's cut. It is a better movie, and if you TMP is a good movie to have not seen in like 5 to 10 years, and watch it again. It's a nice, it's a good re-experience, because you're like, oh, I forgot all these little moments, which it has. Yeah.
Sean O'Sullivan, €2. LeVar seeing colors is finally rainbow. Oh my god.
Never put that together. Love that. Well done. That's fun.
Not a bad account, $2. Insurrection made my spouse like Star Trek.
Yeah, I also like the intro with diplomacy and Dominion War references. Like, it's very Star Trek. It's got a good cold open. It's not, and it's funny. It's still funny now. I expect a dance with a 4-foot lady. That's great. It has politics versus the universe. It's great. It's a and the pimples, and they're smooth as a android's bottom. It's got so many memorable lines where Nemesis doesn't really. Nemesis has a lot less of those, I find. Yeah, I'm still shocked that it's bottom of the list. Is, it might not be the funnest to watch, but neither's TMP, and certainly not the JJ films. So it's kind of like odd to be your lowest.
Mm-hmm. AC Castillo, $2. Love Star Trek 5 for the Klingons and cat boobs. All right, so where are we?
You're number 7. So what is above TMP for you? Just above TMP.
I'm gonna get. People are gonna tar and feather me. Final Frontier, Star Trek 5.
Oh.
Star Trek 5 is definitely one of my guilty pleasures, just because it has that Spock, McCoy, and Kirk TOS feel to it for sure. Also, the bridge is one of the best bridges of the refit, in my opinion.
And there were many, so it's a good graph, because I see lots of them.
Yeah. Plus, Chekhov gets a chance in the captain's chair. How cool is that? And I know, like you said, the first half they're used well, second half not so much. Oh, now Cybok talked to you. Yeah, you're going to help him. Okay, fine. What? They needed more with what was going on there. Also, this is another misplaced romance with Scotty and Uhura. What were they thinking?
And grey hair, which she loses next to, so grey was an aesthetic choice, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's a fashion thing. No, I don't know. It does feel very much like a TOS episode, padded out a little bit with some special effects. which aren't so special because again a different company did those ones. So they're not the best, and the stupid mistakes like deck 75 on the Enterprise, really, and the 5 times they pass it, whatever. What? we need something to talk about. They knew that, so they put all that shit in. Other than that, the little moments are what I like in this one. Like I said, the Cricket Spock moments, the Sulu and Chekhov moments. We're caught in a blizzard. Yeah.
Oh look, Stuart, the sun has come out in my office.
It's a miracle.
But
it's funny.
It is funny. Yeah.
It's funny for the helmsman to be lost. Don't tell them you're lost. You'll never live it down. So yeah, it definitely has that feel.
I think Star Trek 5 also it starts stronger. It plummets a big fat hole, but then the end is actually not bad. But it drops low to then go back up again. Yes,
the Nimbus 3 stuff with the rescuing of the hostages.
Yeah,
that's where it falls apart for me. Take those out, restructure the ending a little bit. But yeah, the Klingons are great, shooting space debris, space garbage.
Another Voyager, which is a lovely reference. Like, it's like, it was so important in the first film. Garbage this week. I thought it was funny.
So there's a lot of good stuff in there. So,
and just for reference,
not as low on my list as a lot of people's lists, for sure.
And just reference, I said there's 9, you said 7, so we're not that far off. Let's be fair. That isn't that far off. But I definitely thought this was, well, I say that, but obviously what we've got to come is the best movies. But I knew this was going to be better than most of the stuff in the list because it's obviously, you were obviously going to get fanboy over Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Like, you couldn't put us lower because as long as you have a couple of good scenes with them, it's going to be higher than other people. And that's fine. That's nothing to smile about. But I knew it was going to be higher in the list than some other people's list because that's the enjoyment you want to see. You want to see those. You don't really care about the other cast in the same context as long as I get my Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, which is fine. And it's definitely better than TMP. And so just to remind you, like, I'm starting to forget as this is quite a long discussion, Stuart had his least favourite was Insurrection, and then Into Darkness, and then 2009, and then Beyond, and then Nemesis, then the motion picture, and then Final Frontier. I had 09, Generations, we haven't got yet with Stuart, TMP, Into Darkness, Star Trek 5, Nemesis, and then Insurrection. Just to remind everyone on our lists as we go. Yeah. Any super chats?
Yeah, we got a few.
Okay.
AC Costello, $2. Love Star Trek 5. I read that one already. Not a bad account, $2. Are you endeavoring to roast a marshmallow? Maybe later. I got a bag of marshmallows upstairs.
And I'll be honest, I've always called them marshmallows. Never marshmallows, because I thought that was real for a few years. And by a few, I mean like 15 years.
I wish they would have kept in why that he called them that. McCoy was messing with him because he knew he was researching their camping trip. So he went into the computer and changed it from marshmallows to marshmallows. And that's why he's got that stupid smirk on his face when he's like, oh, you got a marshmallow. So
nice.
It's in the book. So
this might be a controversial one, and I'm wondering why I put this here. So we'll see how you feel. My number 6 is Star Trek Beyond, which I'm surprised I put it this high, but I think the rationale was, again, how many minutes of good in it. There's actually a lot of minutes of good in this film. And I obviously, in contrast to the other JJ, it's better. But this does harness... Like, the story's pretty good, which beats out Insurrection, Nemesis. Like, the story is solid, so that already wins against the previous 6, right? The acting's good, which definitely beats out some of the other ones. As a good character split, everyone gets some stuff to do. The new lady's good. Franklin's good, as in relative to JJ, but it's a genuinely fun watch, and I will enjoy this. I guess I'll consider it like the guilty pleasure with you with Into Darkness. It's a better film than it should be, and it's a decent Star Trek movie, and it's fun to watch. So put those 3. It's a more fun watch for me than Insurrection or Nemesis, probably. Like, I'm not saying it's better film, but I think like you can watch and enjoy this film. And like you say, the satisfying start to the Enterprise, but played right. The Enterprise at the end. Kirk does good. I mean, that first, like I said, 20 minutes is really solid at the start, which is better than the other films. So it's yeah, I guess I put it there, number 6. Yeah, it's a enjoyable Star Trek film. And that's considering they did it, that team. Because Simon Pegg understands Star Trek. It is a good Star Trek film.
Yeah, it was the best out of all 3 of them for sure. If it's on TV, I'll stop and watch it.
Yeah.
If it's going by kind of thing, there's nothing else on.
And I also remember in the cinema really enjoying it. Like, again, in contrast, but just like that, well done.
Yep, me too. Me too. Saw it in theater and went, God damn, that felt like a Star Trek film. They're on the right track. Because it leaves you on such a high note with the Enterprise A. Even though I hated that. I hated that they already had the A suffix, but whatever. But still, it was a better looking ship at the end, and it just left you on such a high note. And the credits were great. Even got the hand of Apollo in there.
Yeah.
Green space hand.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like, compared to Insurrection and Nemesis, like, it's just a more enjoyable watch. Because you look at Nemesis and Insurrection and be like, the cinema, like, oh, those aren't brilliant, but beyond, like, yeah, that's pretty good. Because I do think the alternate universe helps, right? And we've got to judge it by its own films. That does help a lot. But yeah, it's and I think also helps we know people that worked on it a little bit. That obviously helps a little bit. Not that we don't know the rest of the films, to be fair, I guess. But yeah, it's just I guess it's enjoyment, isn't it? I probably rate Insurrection and Nemesis better as Trek films, but I enjoyed this one more than those two, and amount of minutes of enjoyment, I think. And just it feels respectful, in its own way. Like Nemesis, like why do you do this on those things? But this one feels more respectful. And considering where they had to come from with those sets and costumes, they couldn't just. I mean, and even just the new costumes, like the crispness of those versions, look great. Those are perfectly good. And the away team jacket, I know you like. Like, there's a lot of good stuff they fixed in this film.
Yeah, I do like the jacket. It looks good.
Yeah.
Matt Boardman, though, $5. When this movie first came out, Kraft had a promo that you could mail in for Marshmallow Carrier they used in Star Trek V. Yes. Yeah, I've seen them over the years. I've never seen one in person. In the movie, it wasn't a carrier. That was like a replicator. It was like replicating the Mars. That's why it's longer.
Yeah, I assumed it was a carrier, but that makes more sense. Yeah. And I'm just gonna loo basis. I'll be back in a minute, but see you in a sec.
All right, guys. So yeah, 155 likes, 170 people watching, which is great. Hit that like button if you haven't. Let's try to get up to 175. Can we hit 175? That's another 20 likes. I think we can do that. So make sure your thumb is blue, because if it's not blue, you didn't do. So hit that thumbs up, and hopefully he'll be back soon here. So we're almost done. We are, well, I wouldn't say almost done. We're close to being done. Where are we here? So we are up to number 6. I still got to give you my number 6 because his was beyond. Like the respected Enterprise canon. Yeah, I could take that or leave that. Anywho, I have nothing to say. I'm really burned out, actually. I hope these last 5 don't talk too much about them, honestly, because they're the best movies of Trek. So, tuning 3434, £2. Captain, did you love Beyond Sulu 2? I don't know if there are any standout things for Sulu necessarily and Beyond. Trying to think. It was fine, I guess. they all kind of got their time to shine. They had a good McCoy and Spock kind of interaction, which is great. Because yeah, that was kind of missing that dynamic a little bit. And look, Samuel's back.
Oh yeah, go drink as well. Sorry. Hi.
Yeah, I gotta go get a drink too. But
yeah, I'll vamp. You can go off.
All right. Well, yeah. So you've done your 6, right?
That was yes, my number 6.
Well, let me do my number 6. Then I'll
Okay.
go get a drink.
And then we're gonna get to top 5, guys. That's exciting. So what we got last time, we'll see if that matches.
And hopefully it wraps up pretty quick because we've taken this long to do that many.
Yeah, but these will be easier because there's no debate with the top 4 really. Like they'll be, you know what I mean? It's like with Rom, Noggin. It's like we know.
Just letting you know, my brain feels like it's in mud right now.
Oh yes, so I got some more of this because I'm the same. I agree.
So my number 6 is The Voyage Home, Star Trek. Voyage Home. Again, pretty much for the same reasons as Star Trek 5. Very much a TOS episode, but everybody got their chance to shine. As far as characters go, this is one of the best character pieces for these guys on the big screen. Even compared to like the original show, it's just fun. Great movie, and it's the whale one. It's the one that everybody knows. This is like the one to show somebody that's not a Star Trek fan, because they don't have to know Star Trek to really relate to it. And actually, it's probably better because they kind of come into it going, what?
Well, the sad thing is, this is probably the best standalone film and, best standalone film of all of them, even though it's the third in a trilogy. But because it kind of has a super, you understand, they go back in time to save the planet. You don't need to know Star Trek for that. It's super self-contained in its own way.
Yeah. But yeah, all the characters, you learn what whoever character is with this movie. And it's a fun little ride, so. Star Trek 4. All right, I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. And now I'm here, guys. Hi, guys. Bye, Donnie. Are you guys excited for our weekend drunk retrospective of season 4 of TNG, where we go through and give our remembering thoughts, how we've changed our opinions, and then at the end, I drunkenly say what our top 10, or I guess it'll be actually. I do all of them all today. It'll be the top 10 and bottom 10 of the season to us. So I get to tell us what our own thoughts are because we filmed them in the past. That'll be fun, which was join in on Saturday. I think we normally do it at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's our normal time. And do wish me luck. I've got a very important meeting on Friday. So wish me luck for that. We've got a live on Friday. I know me and Stuart talked about it, but I'll mention it now and I'll mention it at the end as well. Friday is the fan suggested live, which is top 10 guilty pleasure films for us. That's personal films we really love that maybe aren't reviewed well, but for us we love. That's gonna be Friday. You guys like the idea of that? We're gonna do that straight away on Friday, and then we're on Saturday, and then next week we'll start TNG season 5 probably. We're still debating. Hopefully, probably have another Voyager J or January class on Saturday this week, probably. And then we should have a fan ship, big one, week after that, so that'll be exciting. Captain Chilivine. No, we haven't discussed it yet. But we're getting close. It's definitely in our consciousness now. Sergeant Roadkill, not exactly, but closer than it could be, yeah.
All right, I'm back.
Hello.
Ooh, Action Com, $20.
Ooh, that's it.
What did you think of the implications of TMP that a merge of humanity and machine would lead to an ascension?
It's fine. Good.
It's a good Star Trek premise. That's one of the things that it's great sci-fi premise in general. So Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't Decker and Ilea around a 200-year-old probe.
Well,
honestly.
to be fair, Ilea is a probe as well. It's just her memories in there.
Yes, very, very true. Good point. Good counter.
Captain Chili Bean at $2. Good luck, Sam.
Thank you.
Good luck with whatever you're good lucking.
Yeah, I got a meeting on Friday that hopefully will go well. Hopefully. No, I do think that at this point now, the top, like, we should have roughly the same list. I'm trying to think what's left, but I don't want to look at your list or my list. It's like it's hard to not look as it's a long list. But Star Trek 4 as number 6, so it doesn't quite hit your top 5. So is it going to be then that all of the TOS films are your favourites? I'm guessing then kind of like the best is TOS in essence.
No.
I guess I am similar boat, to be fair, since I've already moved past Star Trek Beyond and the other ones. Well, Stuart, my number 5, my what would that be? Wood, my wood award, and then we wood, glass, copper, or bronze, silver, gold. My wood award. Star Trek 3, Search for Spock. It's actually a really medium movie. And I know
that's because it's the middle of a trilogy.
Yeah. But by that I mean it's sort of it's good all the way through, pretty much. There's very few bad bits in it, but it doesn't have that pep that we look for. But it's real close. It's missing something. But there's so many good things in it. But it doesn't quite have that pep that it needs. But people underestimate it. People undervalue this film. It's a real solid film. And it ain't no Empire Strikes Back of a trilogy. But as a 3 film, it's a damn 3 good film trilogy. Yeah. So I think as number 5, totally solid film. And this is I think almost all of it's fun to watch. I think the weakest part is when they get to Genesis. As soon as Genesis starts to blow up, that bit I can kind of don't care. I don't care at that point. It's not that long, luckily. I love the escape, but it's like the film is blowing up as is the interest. But everything up to that point is pretty interesting, and then the ending's pretty good. So it's a very small chunk of meh. So a lot of good minutes to watch, which is my value judgment for this. What do you think about my points?
I'm not going to give any rebuttals from here on in. We're just going to go with why we have it where we have it.
Okay.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Okie dokie.
So my number 5.
Your wood.
Is Generations.
Oh my god. How? Better than the whale one. Better than Star Trek.
Not better.
You enjoy it more.
This is a personal preference.
Than Star Trek. I forgot this one was not even in your list yet. I was like, that must have been earlier. Than the whale. Wow. Continue. Yeah.
No, I don't feel like justifying it now because I've been so berated.
No, you did that with me. One of them. I'm just throwing it back at you to be funny.
I know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, so this is like having another original cast movie. It's kind of like 2 movies in one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a movie and an episode in one. You get to see Kirk and them again, which is great. I really like that. They really went all out with the bridge and the uniforms and everything for that. They didn't skimp, which is great, and they could have.
And let's be honest, I know they're interchangeable, but both Scotty and Chekhov did great. Like, the actors, they gave a lot to what limited screen time they had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to give them credit.
As for the TNG part of it, I really did like the new bridge. As you know, bridge is a thing for me. There's a lot of great panels on the side. I think that's fantastic. And I do like the lighting. I do like the sun shining in lighting. It's realistic as far as that's the best sunshine outside the windows lighting that we've ever seen on Star Trek, ever. And it looks great.
Discovery windows, though, Stuart.
But they're not, though. It's actually a warm sunshine feel.
Yeah.
Like the sun is setting, it's great. So seeing the sets in a new light, literally,
was that intentional?
It was awesome. No, it wasn't actually until I said it. So yeah, we just come off the 7-year run with them. They basically took a week off and then started filming this. So
Yeah.
It's just neat to know a little backstory. The uniforms being interspersed, kind of mixing, was kind of neat to see the changeover of how a uniform thing might go. Whoever's on shift still has the old uniform and whatever. And I got to say, it's got one of the best scenes in Trek with the saucer separation and the crash of the saucer. And it ended awesomely with the nebula, the Oberth, and whatever else it was that worked out at the end there. Yeah. So lots of ships, lots of cool.
Oh, and seeing the stuff landed on the saucer, all the little shuttles, like all the attention to detail with all the lots of eras of shuttles like landed was lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Some really great visuals. The Nemesis, the whole Nexus stuff kind of was all right for me.
Yeah.
But it's everything around that I really enjoy. Like it does feel like 2 movies kind of in one. Yes, they could have done Kirk and Picard meeting story a lot better, but overall, I really enjoy it because you get to see Kirk again, and that's pretty great.
Generations for me, and I like all the things you said there, it feels to me as if they only could afford Shatner for like 6 days. Like they, I know that's not the point, but they used him so little that feels like they just couldn't get him, and so they made it very one-sided, and so he's only in a day's shoot on one set and then 4 days on the other set, whereas you would think it'd be much more intertwined, like if you're doing like having relics like really full on. I know it's not the case, but
I wish they could have brought him on the Enterprise D so we could see like the future of starships.
So obvious.
That would have been awesome. Yeah. Something like that. Just
like
so it could have been it could have been better in my opinion, but it was so enjoyable.
Like for example, he could have brought him back onto the Enterprise D, and then Soren's like, "Oh, I need his Nexus energy as my key. Send down Kirk and Picard." You could have done some really cool stuff with that. But like all the stuff with Kirk in his cabin with a lady we've never heard of. Why is it not Carol Marcus? Like all that stuff's just a complete waste to me. It's like, why is any of this being written? None of it feels like Kirk. None of it feels right. None of it feels good. I know he loves horses. That's why it's there. But like all that stuff, skip. Like it should have been Carol Marcus. Why the hell is this? Whatever her name is, why? It's just so undeserved.
Antonia.
Or he should be on the TOS Enterprise. Rebuild the bridge. Have him be on that set. It's like why? And that's a big little chunk of it. Yeah.
Well, see, yeah, like the book has all that. He goes back and every mistake he ever made in his command, he fixes. He saves everybody's life.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Seeing stuff like that would have been kind of neat. So.
I think it's like half an hour longer and let Kirk have more time.
Mm-hmm.
That would have helped, I think.
Yep.
But better than Star Trek, the whale one. Can you just explain why?
Not better.
Well, no. Why you enjoy more? It's better for you. Why do you enjoy one more? Like it's just a simple why. Because I'm perplexed by that.
Because there's more Monster Maroons. You get to see more bridge action. I like the bridge ship stuff.
No, you're right. There is Federation stuff. You're right. That is a good point.
In Star Trek 4, it's like, okay, there's the end. I love that bridge, by the way, at the end of Star Trek 4. For the 3 seconds you see it, except for the floor, which is janky. But anyway, I just wish there was more. Yeah. I wish there was more of that in Star Trek 4. Okay. If there was no Star Trek in Star Trek 4, except for the characters.
Well, there's no Enterprise. Yeah, I know. I see. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, one's like a road trip. One was a hardcore adventure. That's actually a really lovely point. And I love Federation aesthetic too, but I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Mine number 4 or super chats?
Oh, super chats. Sergeant Montgomery, $5.
Thank you.
Enterprise A and Voyage Home, the Lexington refit, and christened as such, or a brand new Constitution class. It was supposed to be the Yorktown. It was originally the Yorktown. They renamed it in honor of Kirk, made it the A.
Mm-hmm.
And yes. So Lexington refit, no. It was actually a new build. It was a new build. That's why it was so janky.
Yeah, it wasn't a refit, but it was a Connie refit fresh build.
Yes. Yeah. Which, with transwarp technology that they had to rip out between Star Trek 4 and Star Trek 5, that's why nothing's working in Star Trek 5.
Oh, Dan23 has a great comment, though. The stellar cartography in Generations, actually a great visual. And the fact it was actually on real screens, that's not CG. I mean, it's rear projection, you know what I mean? But it's a physical. They did it on.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Seen different parts of the Enterprise, which were probably there the whole time. But whatever.
But no, still never a bowling alley. You know, I make that joke to my fan filmmakers. If you want to shoot the bowling alley, let me know. I'll build it.
That'd be awesome.
I know.
TJ Hardison, $5. It may have been explained before, but why do you think the odd numbers TOS movies feel worse than the even numbered ones? It actually makes a whole ton of sense. TOS, they pumped a lot of money into, and yeah, it did well, but not as well as they expected. So, and they made toys for it too, which didn't really sell. So Star Trek 2, they drastically scaled the budget back. And as a result, they had to do a better story. They got Nicholas Meyer in, who wasn't a Star Trek fan, whatever. So they scaled money back for the next one because they weren't sure it was going to be successful. Turns out to be super successful because they focused so much on story and did such a great job. So, all right, cool. Didn't make toys for Star Trek 2. Star Trek 3 comes along. They make toys for Star Trek 3. I've got one of them here. And again, they kind of ramped up the budget a little bit to kind of compensate. Star Trek 3, for some reason, kind of underperformed. Don't know why. So for Star Trek 4, which is another one of the best ones, they scaled the story back, or the budget back, which means shooting on the street in modern-day San Francisco is a lot cheaper. It's a great story. That's why, because unfortunately, the odd number ones, the bad ones, have more budget. I don't know if more budget just relates to worse stories, but you can see the trend.
Although 3 is not a bad film, that doesn't deserve that moniker.
No. But
there you go. There's your question answered.
I hope so. Sean O'Sullivan, £2.
Thank
€2. Don't tell me Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's a funny joke. It's a good gag. It's a stupid gag, but it's a good gag, and there is some logic to it.
I use it in my life all the time.
I just wish the Nexus wasn't literally on Earth's doorstep and there's no ships. It's like they would have seen that thing coming for like 2 years. Like, you can't sneak up on Earth.
But it should have started with a scene of it coming out of some kind of weird warp effect. Like,
yeah.
it's really snuck up on them and just stopped in the solar system.
Or like Soren triggered it and made it come out of subspace. Like, he's the reason they all got killed. Perfect. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's in our realm for a few years. Yeah. Boo. Boo. Cool.
All right. So what is your number 4?
So my Glass Award. This was a tricky 4, I'll be honest, but I'll stick with my reaction here. My number 4 is going to be Star Trek 6. Because Rura Penthe can go suck an egg, right? And that's a good 35 minutes of an hour-and-a-half film that I can just throw in the trash.
But it's not solid. It's interspersed.
But it's almost solid. Like, you're right, the cutbacks are great, but that's a lot of the film I just don't want to watch. I have no interest in that stuff. It's not good. It's not interesting. I mean, it's not bad, but I have no interest. It's a phenomenal political thriller. Then it isn't. For a very long time, in the end's pretty good. Like, yeah, it's good. But it's just, like Nemesis, then it's just an action film at the end, which is good, but you know, you already said you don't like action films, so I'm sure it's going to low. Well, I would have said it's low on your list, but it's obviously not, because it's not been said yet, but you know, just because it's an action film. I don't know. I mean, you know, number 4, still a high bar, but I was thinking of those other 3, and I think I'm going to give them all higher, because yeah, if it didn't Rura Penthe, if it just kept with political, it's probably be number 2, but that so much of that time I do not give a shit about, and it's just like, why? And as that shows, I liked the Honors Bridge talking. That's the good stuff. You don't need to put money into that. It's at the makeup. It just lets itself down massively. But that's really that's it. You know, it's better than all the other films, obviously. But yeah, just lets it down there. And obviously, wish for more Gorkon. You know, wish for more whatever. Would be nice to have some explanation about Chang cloak chip, because it's a bit of a MacGuffin, as with the scimitar, etc. You know, there's no reason for it. You know, but that's, I mean, like I said, it's on the book, etc. But these are, you know, these are small reasons for it's number 4. But you know, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, number 4.
Well, I'll be talking about that sooner than later. So
I'm sure you will.
my number 4 is The Search for Spock.
Okay, so I was 5. So I was yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoy The Search for Spock for multiple reasons. Mainly all the new ships. We get the Space Dock, we get the Excelsior, we get the Oberth class, we get the Bird of Prey. There's a lot going on, and it's a pretty straightforward story. And it's a good story about friendship. And the only thing that's really lacking, like you were saying, Star Trek 3 is a good movie, but it's lacking something. The only thing that's lacking is Spock, even though he's in the title and he's at the end, and he directed it. I don't know if that's what you think is missing, but yeah, I kind of agree with you that the Genesis scenes are a little bit and not the best sets either for the Genesis. You can tell they're on a soundstage. For a big budget movie, that's kind of not great. But
well, the rest of the film feels so good they just ran out of money. Like they just, but also it's expensive to build a full set that also breaks apart. I mean, they spent the money where they could. Just, limitations at the time as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you got really great Klingon and Krug. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in Star Trek 3. It's definitely one of my favorite.
It's your 4th favorite, Stuart. Today,
it is
today.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why it's where it is. There are better ones, but
there's a reason. Like someone said, the odds versus the evens. There's a reason why people don't consider it as part of the evens, and it's just missing some extra zazz, even though it's so close. Something about it, it's weird. But it's unbelievably solid. Like, it's really solid, and it even gives the crew some good stuff to do. Like, it's a pretty good varied film. Also Excelsior as well. Yeah.
Oh, and you get Sarek back, and you get
it's an extremely. This is the world building film. TOS, we never met to Earth. 1 we did, but didn't see much. 2 we didn't. This is like, oh my god, we see so much of the universe in 3. So much of it. This is the film that opens up the universe, the art design, the aesthetic, the sets, the look, I mean, come on, Chekhov gets his pink shirt, What more do you want than a pink...
This pink Quaker shirt.
Yeah.
It's like a... Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Cool. Any super chat, Stuart?
Yes. Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, puts in €5. The movie that gave us Shakespeare in the original Klingon only gets 4th place. For Samuel...
I'll explain why. Like I said, there's a big chunk of not so good. That's the problem.
Matt Boardman, $5. Star Trek 3 is special to me. Mom gave it to me for Christmas on VHS, and I watched it so many times I wore it out. Yeah, I used to watch all the VHS tapes in the basement.
I think that was Wrath of Khan for me. That was Khan.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 3 bronze place for me is Star Trek 4. And I'm surprised it was low on your list because, as we said, it's the second most iconic Trek movie. It's the most balanced of all the Trek movies. It's the funniest of all the Trek movies. It's probably the most creative of all the Trek movies. Yes.
But...
Oh, yeah.
My favorite character's not in it until the very end. That's the Enterprise.
But the Bird of Prey is so fleshed out on this. And as we love ships, like seeing it, the end room, the cargo bay, the bridge, like that's ballsy of them, and I love that to no end. I love the Bird of Prey. Like I know you do too, but you're right, Enterprise over Bird of Prey. But it's like, wow, ballsy. It's like having I'll say Picard take place on the Serena, but it's like, yeah, that's a crap ship though. Now yes, it does for me wane a bit near the end. I like the Chekhov hospital fine, but the whale bit isn't as strong as it could be, and the end isn't quite as strong as I think they mean it to be. Like, I think the rest of it's so strong, it doesn't quite come together as well as it could do. It's number 3, so it's obviously high up on there. But it doesn't quite have that zazzy end. But yeah, I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie by itself. It knows what it is, it's directed super well, every character's great in it, as we know. This is the film that made Star Trek an ensemble cast for the first time. Which is sad, it was also last time. 6 to some extent, but this really has so few bad minutes. Star Trek 6 has a lot of not good minutes, at least not interesting minutes. This does not have really very many at all, hence why it's better for me.
This is a weird one for me because honestly, like I said, it's the one that you show a non-Star Trek fan to kind of get them acquainted with everybody. But it's the least Star Trek of all the Star Trek films, even though the concept and the premise is so Star Trek. The beginning and end is so Star Trek. The middle is just fun, character interaction. It's a weird one. It's a really weird one because it's not really. I don't know.
Well,
I hate that it's called the whale one. First of all, because everybody knows. Is it the whale one? Yes. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
And I agree. It's the most Star Trek in terms of like the universe over the Federation aesthetic. But yes, it's certainly the least Starfleet in terms of you're on a bird of prey the entire time and you're on Earth. But if Star Trek is about the people, this is the most Star Trek movie. If Star Trek is about the tech, TMP is the most. If it's about the characters and the situations, then it's Star Trek 2. If it's about the universe and the expanded universe like the aliens, it's Star Trek 6 because that has the Klingons. So it depends for you.
It's actually kind of a good palate cleanser from Star Trek 3 because we got to see a lot of the Federation in Star Trek 3. The Enterprise, Space Dock, Excelsior, like everything. And yeah, this one is like, you've seen all that now.
Yeah.
Let's just take a break for a second. Look, here's Vulcan. Oh, look. Here's a Klingon ship, but the bridge is different than last movie. We're not going to explain why.
Well, I mean, Vulcan, man. Reefers. I mean, come on, they've been building ships for like 3,000 years, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so let's build it in the Klingon aesthetic, so it's more Klingon than it was in the last movie. Anyway.
That's true, yeah. All right.
Well, that created the Klingon aesthetic, I think.
Yes. All right, so your bronze medal, Stuart. Whereas mine is the whale one.
Yeah, I'll say it, then I'll read the next super chat. Hold on.
Okay.
My third place winner is First Contact. Just 1 second here. I just gotta. All right, sorry about that. Yes, First Contact. It is a fun ride. It is the best of the TNG movies by far, and it shows. Everybody loves it. It's basically a zombie film. It's a horror film in space with Star Trek people. And you get the time travel element as well. There's, again, a lot going on. You get to meet Zephyr Cochrane, see the first warp ship. So there's a lot of good stuff for us ship people. We get to see the planet Hoth at the end.
The brand new E.
A battle at the beginning.
Yeah,
Worf, with Defiance. Again, nice crossover there. Yeah. And we get introduced to the Queen. Is this the introduction to the Queen? I think it is. Yeah. Which kind of changes the Borg feel a little bit, but that's okay. And again, this is the one that's probably responsible for the timeline split if you want to go there. So it's a fun one, and it's definitely the best of the TNG stuff. So, yeah.
Super chat, Stuart. What do our super fans say? As we're now in the bronze, silver, and gold.
Captain Chili Beana, $5. This is for the cap. I know you're struggling to get through the end of this, but we really do appreciate the effort. Live long and prosper. Well, thank you so much. I've got such a headache, and my head is just pounding right now. Sean Corpier, $5. Hey. I watched this so much. A lot of people watch this one and only this one. Which one? Which one, Sean?
Probably this one.
Sean says 2 euros, First Contact. It's a frakes. And not a band account, $2. Which movie will happen first? Disco, Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, or Strange New Worlds?
Wow. I think they're thinking like the Mandalorian, TV shows, where is that? I don't think they'll do any movies.
The Lower Decks one already had a movie. I was considering putting it in here as a joke.
And number 1, Lower Decks, the movie. Yeah. I think Strange New Worlds of all of those, probably. But
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in fact, I think this is probably the most movie-feeling movie of all of them, in that Wrath of Khan had a limited budget and you feel it. Not to its detriment, but you feel it. This feels bigger budget. It feels more intense. Like, you know what I mean? I think this is probably the most cinema before the JJ films. Would you agree?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like, even that poster is really cool, you know? Yeah, number 3. Okay, so there's 2 things that beat it, and it just beats out Search for Spock. So my number 3, right?
No, you're number 2.
My bronze is First Contact, the slightly wider poster. Yes, no, I mean...
You're silver. You're silver.
Yes, sorry.
You've already done your bronze. This is silver.
Both our brains are mushed to it, we know that. Yeah, First Contact,
Yes.
second best Trek movie. Obviously, you're going to disagree, but I think that's not hard to disagree with because it's a really good movie, really good Star Trek movie, really good universe movie, and holds up today. The visual effects are excellent, the makeup's excellent. I do think it suffers in a few scenes. I don't really care about the Lily character at all.
I hate her, actually.
Yeah. She's not bad or anything. I just don't care at all. Which I know is probably weird. I don't know. Obviously felt the same. I love Alice Krieg as the Queen. I love Alice Krieg as the Queen. Not necessarily the Queen itself. You know. And I do wish, in a sense, it was more fleshed out cast than just Data again. That obviously you notice that at a certain point it becomes the Data and Picard show. That said, well directed, good. It's a solid, obviously solid movie. It wouldn't take much to make it better. I definitely wish more of an ensemble feel, a little bit. I don't think you need Lily at all. Have it be someone else in the cast. Have it be Gates. Have it be Troy. I mean, they all had good things to do, but I have it be Barclay or have it be someone else from the show. Just
Lily is the audience analog.
Yes. Yeah. I would have maybe had her be like Cochrane's daughter, something more direct. Like she believes in the stars. She believes in the stars. He doesn't. Having all that vibe, but that's just me. Because then it'd be like I meet someone famous. Yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. It might be slightly overhyped, but it doesn't diminish the quality of it. I don't think it's as good in multiple watches as in wait a while and rewatch it. Like, because this like Star Trek 4 and 6, I think you can watch the Klingon stuff and the time travel stuff quite a few times in short succession. Here is like one big movie adventure. I'm not gonna want to rewatch it soon after and see all the zombie stuff, and I'm like, no. Wait a while, watch it again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just me. I mean, I'm not the best at rewatching things in quick succession. This to me is a movie experience rather than a just chill and watch it. Like I wouldn't put this on, but I would go watch it. Doesn't detract from the quality. It's just how I feel personally about it.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country.
Okay.
I know it's very political, and I'm not really a big fan of political stuff, but it's got a great original, like, steps away soundtrack-wise from the other Star Trek movies, but it's so recognizable and so engaging as a soundtrack. Get to see some really great... The bridge is fantastic in this one as well, by the way. Get to see Sulu on the Excelsior, and just Chang and Gorkon, and it's just there's a lot of good stuff here. It's one of the best Star Trek films, and it's a sign off for the crew, and they did a fantastic job with it. I don't know. It's just it's my second place because it's awesome. There you go. I don't even know what else to say.
Well, I mean, I guess the only thing then is like, how would you count my Repenthe thing? Because that for me drags it down from a second or a third into fourth, because it's just such weak content in comparison.
It's not my favorite part of the movie for sure, and there's some editing errors there, by the way. There's a few editing errors and just stupid mistakes in this one. Because there's a scene on Repenthe where there's a shot of McCoy from the side, and he starts talking, but His lips don't move until they change camera, and it's so distracting once you've seen it. And the stupid Viridian patch, which is the Spock puts on this way, and then later it's moved, but nobody knew it was there except for Kirk.
Nobody notices.
Yeah. And this is the pink Klingon. Like, it's got its problems, obviously, the pink Klingon blood and stuff, but the Rurapente stuff, yeah, I agree. It can be shortened quite a bit. Would be great.
I would just have them on a ship. I would just have them on Kronos 1. Like, just have them on a Klingon ship instead. And then they get rescued from that. Like, you could have much more interesting very easily.
Yeah, I would be down for that.
And that would be fine in, like, Star Trek 5. Like, the Rurapente stuff in Star Trek 5 would have been great. But in comparison to everything else in the movie, it's not very good. Does that make sense? It's just suddenly drops. But it's interesting because First Contact, I don't think has any scenes like Rurapente is a chunk of time. First Contact, even the stuff in the Earth stuff doesn't drag. That's why it's instantly higher for me, because it doesn't drag in any places. This does.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oop. Shit.
I don't disagree. Like I said, it's all...
Yeah. Well, I guess for you, it's the highest. The highs are so much higher than the low doesn't pull it down. Whereas for me, Nemesis first of all has less lows, so it averages out better.
I kind of like lows in movies, because like I said, it's a chance to check the phone, go get a drink. You can still hear it from the other room. You know what's going on.
That's my designated... he's been sentenced to Rurapente. I've been sentenced to pee break. Your designated pee break.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Samuel.
Yes.
I think our number one might be the same movie.
Galaxy Quest. No. Yes. Let's see if I posted the same. Your poster, my poster. No, different poster. I like your poster more. Yes.
Yeah, I picked better posters than you did this time. Across the board, and I made sure I was going to.
Oh dear. And yes, AC Castello, yes, but don't put him in Rurapente. It's not the fact he was away. It's everything he did in a scene, like everything, all those scenes. Not that he was away. Just have it be on another ship. Have it be on a space station. Have it be on a Federation present. Like, just
before we announce what our number one is, let me read some super chats. Sean Corpier, $5. The Defiant and the E, that's what makes it so worth it.
Pretty great.
Sean Corpier, $5. Star Trek Undiscovered Country is my number one. Sergeant Montgomery, $5. I would replicate some firearms and go to town in First Contact. Well, there's the whole debate, would they adapt to projectiles? Probably. But anyway. Super Coops, £5. This isn't the time to be talking about time. We don't have the time. Great line. LOL. Yeah. Although Jonathan Frakes overacts in that scene a little bit. And Sean Corpier, $5. Should have been Kirk's last movie. What, 6? Yeah, probably. I didn't mind him in Generations, though, as you could tell from it being 5 on my list. So.
Yes. So yeah, number one, to no one's surprise, Star Trek II: The
Wrath
of.
Ready? We'll do it at the same time.
Oh, good.
3,
okay.
2, 1.
Come! Echo into space. Yes, goes through the rock into space. I mean, it is just better than Star Trek 6. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's a redefining moment in Star Trek history. Literally, got Nicholas Meyer in, who wasn't a Star Trek fan, and he made it more military against Gene Roddenberry's wishes. And again, this is where it starts to fall away from Gene Roddenberry's vision a little bit, but that's the best stuff usually.
Well, it's because he was a solid filmmaker that once he watched every episode, he picked what he liked best. So he understood what made it good. He understood the characters. He also understood a new angle to take it, the age thing, and show it with the audience who was obviously 2 decades older or a decade older. But as with anything, Stuart, this would be a great Battlestar Galactica film. This would be a great Star Wars film. This could be transposed into any different show. It really could be. It's a brilliant film first. But then you add on the layers of Star Trek. You add on the Reliant. You add on all these different layers. And it's like, wow, this is interwoven. Obviously, the universe is just being built, but it feels so interwoven into the universe. Tight-knitted. But it's still a great story first.
This movie couldn't have worked without the backlog of TOS history, though, between Kirk and Spock. I think if it was without that layered world already established,
Well, I
for the
mean,
friendships.
you would have had that with if it was a Star Wars film, they would have had a. I'm saying in this example, if they had a pre-villain in another Star Wars movie, like that's what I mean. But yes, I'm saying you had to have some sort of prequel. But yeah.
And let's not forget the most important reason that Star Trek 2 is the best Star Trek movie of all time.
Motorbon abs?
No.
Okay.
No. And those are pecs. You never see his abs. But no. It's because this is the film that introduced me to Samuel Cockings and created Trekyards itself. How did it do it? I did a movie review of it, and Samuel watched it, and then we started talking, and Trekyards was born. Long story short.
So what you're saying is, when we do the movie memoir of our life, at the end should say, special thanks to Nicholas Meyer.
Yes, absolutely.
This film, I mean, I think we all watch it every once in a while. It holds up today. It is so... There's so little of it that looks and feels dated. It's remarkable, actually. I do think the sound quality is of the era, whereas, like, for 6, it's crystal clear. It's absolutely modern sound. This one is that line of, couldn't quite get the sound as quality as now it would be, but that is a very few and far between thing. There's just a difference in advancement it looks from the last film to this film. You know, set design, costumes, like, the money looks more in this, because the sets are better thought out and they're more detailed, etc. You know, it's a film made by a really talented filmmaker at the start of his game, you know, start middle, where everyone brings a level of A game, and it isn't weakened by the fact Spock comes back, which is very impressive considering, you know, it doesn't all hinge on that. Luckily, if it did, like he doesn't die in the second act, and Kirk's like, "For you, I will beat up Khan with my fists until I steal his blood." And
then you'll be back at the end of the movie.
Yes, exactly. But so it doesn't hinge on that, but it's a powerful beat at the end. It's a sacrifice because it's a sacrifice, you know, to the story and to the moment. Yeah, I mean, it holds up really well. There's very few things it falls down on. Even the visual effects look great. They're only dated in the sense that they are limited by what they could physically do. But that gives it a real grounded naval feel, which is what they were going for. And so they were in their realm of you know, quality, etc. It's a very good film. Yeah, I mean, there's, you know. Yeah. And even the Genesis cave stuff, which you would think would be the weakest bit.
Genesis?
Yeah, Genesis. Like, just beaming down, like, having, like, they spend just enough time with Kirk talking to the guys in the planet in the moon. Like, that could have been 2 minutes longer and be boring. It's just right on the edge, you know?
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. Damn. I don't know what else to say, Samuel. I'm sorry. I know you expected me to say more about it, but it's just a great movie.
Best is best for a reason. So now I want to have 18 more likes and $50 more put in your favorite movie. If it's Wrath of Khan, I want to see some fives. I want to see, throw in the chat right now in the chat, the super chat, and also your favorite movie, your number one in the chat right now. Star Trek 1, Star Trek 2, but actually put Star Trek 1, the motion picture, like give it the full title, just not just ST1, so that we can all see. Spam channel right now and super chats if you can. We need a few of them.
Yeah. And Matt Boardman, $5. Some of my visual effects friends and I have toyed with doing a version of the Mutara Nebula battle with British Navy sailing ships. Ooh. That'd be interesting. I would love to see that.
Yeah, you could probably do it quite happily.
Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Why crew so young, Khan so old? Also missing planet.
Well, we don't really see the crew in Space Seed that much, and who knows how many people died in the meantime. So it's just the ones that survived. And Khan is old because within about 8 months, he then had to live on a shitty planet. I mean, you know, they say prison ages you, and being the president ages you. Mm-hmm. You can get grey hair 10 years younger than you're meant to if you deal with stress, and you can look a lot better, a lot older if you don't have that mentally. You know, so yeah, absolutely, it's fine.
Sean Carpier, $5. Great ship movie. Enterprise refit. Grissom and Reliance. Grissom's not in it. You're talking about Star Trek.
I think he paused at a certain point, and now he's in the past with us. So now he'll see this in a few minutes.
Yeah. AC Castillo, $2. Star Trek 2 has the best soundtrack by James Horner. Yeah, but it's used in other movies. With a few changes. You've noticed too. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And it's quite obvious.
He had a very limited repertoire. Wrath of Khan is his most famous film, and so if you've seen that first, you think he's a genius, which he was. But if you watch his other films, it's like, oh, it's the same music.
Yep.
Whoops, guys, spam the chat. Your favorite film right now. Star Trek 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right now.
Yes. John Woke, $5. Wrath of Khan all the way. He tasks me, and I shall have him.
Yes.
And Mark Felipe, $5. Number 1, Wrath of Khan. Number 2, Undiscovered Country. That's my boy.
Although while I wait for the super chats to come in, I'll just reiterate our lists just so people know. So you had the worst was Insurrection, then Into Darkness, then 09, then Beyond, then Nemesis, then the Motion Picture, then Final Frontier, then Voyage Home, then Generations, then Search for Spock, First Contact, Undiscovered Country, and Wrath of Khan. And my list, which is pretty damn different, which I like, it's good, it's different, is Star Trek 09, Star Trek Generations, which is from your 5 to my 12. Whew. TMP, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Final Frontier, Star Trek Nemesis, Star Trek Insurrection, Beyond, Search for Spock, Undiscovered Country, Voyage Home, First Contact, and Wrath of Khan. So our big differences really are Insurrection and Generations. And I guess Final Frontier a little bit, but those are the only ones that are massively different. And everything else is kind of about 2 to 3 spots different, but not too different. Like we didn't alternate the JJ ones around too much, etc.
Yeah. Also, let us know in the chat if you guys are surprised by our lists at all.
Yeah. Are you surprised by my list yet?
Some of them, yes. Yes, overall. I forget which ones specifically, but as we were going through them, I was shocked at least twice, maybe 3 times. So, how about mine?
Yeah, I'm surprised by Insurrection. I know you don't like it very much, but I assumed it'd be higher than JJ at least, or at least the lower 2. That surprised me. And Generations being so high, it surprised me because I assumed it'd at least be lower than, Star Trek 5, because 5 has, you always say, better Picard thingy moment. The trifecta. I assume that would have been like 4 for you for some reason because trifecta. So that
again.
Yeah.
If you asked me this literally a month from now,
yeah.
I'd probably give you a different order because I wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's very, very variable.
Do I dare go? Well, I'll do it. I'll do it on a different live. I'll go back to our other list, our top 5, and see if that matches up. Not right now because we're both quite tired, but yes.
RJB 1714, $10.
Ooh, thank you.
Star Trek 2 is my favorite since it introduced me to the Star Trek franchise and the Enterprise refit and Reliant, both my favorite starships ever. Yeah. Sean Carpay, $5. Sorry, yeah, Undiscovered Country, number 1. And Jeremy S, $5. Oh, sorry.
Well, like I said, it's just sad. If they'd gone to a Klingon planet, if they'd gone to a Klingon ship, and had stuff with Ajat Board or any of the Klingons, and just you see him being transported through Klingon space. You see Kronos 1 at warp, and it's flung by 2 birds of prey, and it's like those scenes, and then they're talking to other Klingon prisoners, maybe an Andorian prisoner. You get a sense of Klingon prison treatment, and then they get sprung on the way there by Spock.
Would have made a lot more sense because they got to Repente, which you assume is deep in the heart of Klingon space.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think being on a transport would have been a lot better. Yeah.
And that wouldn't take much. That would not take much. And it would be the same similar set. So you have dramatic lighting. The escape could be fun. Kind of like we need to distract the prison guards to get out of the cell, and then Kirk could use some clever stuff. And yeah, it's not Repento's bad. It's just not good compared to everything else. It just takes a massive dip in quality for me because I want to see more political stuff. The political stuff was so well written, but how well can you write two guys on a slow planet trying to escape? There's only so good you could write that,
Yeah. Jeremy S., $5. Thanks for the lists. Really interesting to hear your perspective on the movies. My favorite is Undiscovered Country. Wrath of Khan close. Second, good show. Thank you so much. Speaking of, can we get another 13 likes to get to 200 likes? That would be amazing.
Please. And I'm not going to expect it, but $24 more would get us to a lovely number. Not expecting it, but if you can. But 13 likes for sure. But Stuart, please pimp out the other two lives in the next 7 days. The Friday and the Saturday. As we wait for the last 30
Friday are going to be our top 10 just guilty pleasure movies, which I'll probably miss one or two in there, but I think I have a good list going on.
Yeah.
So join us for that. Just guilty pleasure, just things we enjoy that you wouldn't want to necessarily blast out on social media that you're watching at the time, but you really enjoy them. So that's on Friday, and then I think we might have to do our Trekyards on Sunday instead of Saturday, if that's okay.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I got something on the weekend. I'd have to tell them my days are swapped.
So Saturday or Sunday we'll be doing a Trekyards live retrospective of season 4 of TNG, because we've just finished all the reviews of that. So that'll be fun.
Yes. 10 more likes. 10 more likes. I do think getting the number the 10 for, like I was in the thumbnails you saw for Guilty Pleasure, and it's tricky. I don't want to ask you what are yours so I can put them in the thumbnail, but also I don't want to necessarily do ones I'm going to pick. I just want to pick things that people might think, but mean that, you know what I mean? It's a hard one to pick. Guilty Pleasure is such an overall concept. That's why when I sit down, I just want to do gut reaction. Don't think about it. Just 10. I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Like it might not be sci-fi. Like I'm not going to limit myself to sci-fi.
Oh no, I'm not either. Absolutely not.
I mean, I'm not necessarily going to go the hardest core rom-com. Like, oh, I love this rom-com. Like, well, that's not really what Trekyards is about. Maybe not include rom-coms, but, action for sure. 9 likes, guys. 9 likes. Although Captain Shannon says, well, I'm changing it a little bit. Do you think they should have made Endgame as a movie instead? If they'd ended the cliffhanger of, ooh, when they're not getting home, but movie coming out in a year. Wahaha.
Endgame.
Voyager, Endgame, but higher budget as a movie.
Oh, yes, that would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Did you?
No.
Sorry, did you send the thumbnail for the Guilty Pleasures yet?
Thought I did. Don't know.
No, it's not here.
Oh.
Anyway.
Send it again.
Yeah, that would have been great to have a Voyager movie. That would have been fantastic, actually.
And just same story, more money. Same exact story. Maybe just an extra half an hour at the start in the future. That's it. All we have to do.
You could even include some DS9 stuff, maybe, to get some DS9
Oh,
people
future DS9, yeah. Have Captain Nog walk in and be in a class with Janeway or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already seen them old in Visitor. I guess they're too old in that context, but Although, wouldn't it be awkward if they bring back Jadzia? It's like, I guess that was before that, but that would have been awkward if they include future Jadzia. It's like, nope, she died in season 6. There ain't no Jadzia. Whoops. Over there, Stuart. Do we have the likes?
We do have the likes. With 6 more likes would be great.
Come on, guys.
Eugene, 250 rubles. TMP is not that good of a movie, but it's good. The Star Trek movie. Not the movie for Star Trek fans to watch in cinema, but for the uninitiated people to see it on TV and get the feeling. No, because they leave the room pretty quick.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I see what you're saying, but I kind of disagree.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good movie, but why would you watch the first movie of a franchise that's based on a TV show? Why would you start with that? That's on you You know, it's like, why would you like, you wouldn't start Star Wars Episode 9 because you'd be like, well, no, you watch earlier films, you know? Or you wouldn't start with Clone Wars because why you wouldn't do that, you know? There's a certain order to things. Just saying. That's on them if they do that.
Sean Corpay, $5. Insurrection is higher on my list, but I'm weird. Not weird. It's just personal preference. Everybody's different, so we don't judge anybody for that.
No. It was, what was it on mine? 7. So middle of the road middle of the road. 2 more likes, guys. 2 more. That's it. Yeah. Let us sleep with 2 more likes.
2 more likes. Oh, we just went down a like. 3 more likes. 2 more likes. There we go. Come on. Come on.
But
yeah, I'm done.
Me too. But I'm looking forward to our Friday one though. I think that'll be. I would like to think they're not at all the same list because this will be one of the only times it's going to happen.
I also don't want to go for 3 hours talking about it. I wanted to limit it to 2 hours.
Oh sure. Well, that's
this was 13 movies and it's Star Trek, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big one. Oh.
Well, I didn't expect that going in though. I thought we'd blast through them pretty quick.
Oh. And
then talk about it later.
Guess not. Why are we losing likes, guys? Click like. Come on. 3. It's not that bad.
I think what we should do for these, though, honestly, is go through the list a lot quicker and then have the discussion afterwards. I think that would make a lot better viewing. But I could be wrong.
Well, you mean basically go through a list twice? Go through a list just to say what it was, and then double back again and start explaining. Is that what you mean?
No.
Oh.
Go through the list and kind of have a little brief discussion, and then, but not as detailed as we did. So quick little summations, why we picked it, why it's there. We don't talk about each other's points. Then go back and revisit it, kind of like just sitting around and chatting style. 201 likes.
There we go. Cool.
I don't know.
See you on Friday.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, you guys are amazing. This was a really good one. Just tiring. But that's okay. That's okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Stuart, say bye, buddy.
Bye, buddy.